Yeah.
Yeah. It's intentional. Okay.
Is unintentionally intentional a phrase?
Sure.
There it is.
The headphones are hitting. Yeah, top shelf.
'em. Oh shit. Okay.
Got distracted showing him stuff. Pull it. It's gonna rain. Yeah, there's a hurricane coming.
There. Yeah.
Invest whatever it is, the number. But it did jog more east. Yes.
Yesterday, I was
He was in it.
I was running. Yeah.
Not on purpose.
Well, I was running on purpose. I wasn't in the rain on purpose. Yeah. It was bad. All of my clothes are still hung out under the carport, and I don't think I'll ever be able to wear those shoes again. .605 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Good morning, everybody. Brian here with you. Chuck P producing. Jake in training. We are off and running this morning on a busy Thursday morning. We got a lot of ground to cover today. Patrick Gremillion from the Patty G Show is going to be in. We're talking business in just a little while, about half an hour. In the 7 o'clock hour, Dr. Louis Minsky from Baton Rouge General is going to hop on board to talk about this monoclonal antibody lab. The infusion treatments are going to be stepping up over at Baton Rouge General. That's at 7:15, 7:35. Sergeant Don Coppola is going to be in for Crimestoppers. In the 8 o'clock hour, Ben Schott from NOAA, the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration, is going to hop on the hotline at 8:15 to talk about Invest 99L, which before the end of today, I'm guessing before the end of today, is going to be Tropical Storm Ida, if not worse. Where's it headed? We will ask Ben Schott to tell us where it's headed before it's even a storm. How about that? And then at 8:40, actress Siobhan Fallon Hogan. She's an SNL alum. Seen her in a couple comedy movies throughout the early 90s. I mean, the late 90s and early 2000s. But she has a new movie out starting Friday, which I got to watch last night.
Whoa, okay.
Oh, yeah, they sent me the little
screener or
yeah.
whatever. How was it? Good,
It's
huh?
good.
Okay.
It's riveting, to say the least. It's
Nice.
called Rushed. She plays the mother of a son who was hazed to death. This is a story that has hit home in Baton Rouge at LSU a couple of different times. It happens all over the country, and it's a thriller, to say the least, but the journey this thing walks through the first half of just she does a phenomenal job. I'll leave it at that for now and let you know that she'll be on the show at 8:40 this morning. All right, batting leadoff this morning. Actually, before even batting leadoff, hopping into the show, you did not hear a weather forecast. Had a little problem getting that downloaded. So let me give you the forecast right now. Today's high is just 87 degrees. Yes, today's high, not even going to be in the 90s. And that's the end of the good news. We are looking at a 70% chance of rain today. Look for that chance of rain to really enter the equation around noon and stick with us through about 5 or 6 p.m. Afternoon showers like we saw yesterday, except hopefully not as violent. Yesterday afternoon's rain, my heavens, that
Not
was
good.
loud. Lot of violent thunder and lightning throughout yesterday's storm. But look for a similar repeat today, but just on a little bit longer of a basis. After today, we are looking at 60% chance of rain tomorrow with a high of 89. Saturday, 30% chance of rain with a high of 89. Sunday, we've got a 94% chance of rain. And I don't want to look past Sunday because we don't know what's going to happen with Ida yet. Ida right now is sitting in the Caribbean, and Ida right now is not even named Ida yet, but it's still invest number 99. The official word here is 90% chance of formation over the next 48 hours. We could see impact on the Yucatan Peninsula tomorrow. System could bring dangerous impacts from storm surge winds and heavy rainfall to portions of Louisiana, Texas, and the Mexican states of Tamaulipas late this weekend and early next week. Ida is looking to get real strong, real fast, and get to moving. Like Sunday night into Monday morning, possibly even earlier than that. But Ida is developing into a thing. We have our eyes on it. And, of course, anything you need is available with the Demco Stormwatch page at talk1073.com. Download or go to talk1073.com, check out the Demco Stormwatch page, and get yourself prepared for a storm. Normally, we'll talk about a storm once it's in the Gulf. Ida is in the Caribbean and kind of has its sights set on the Gulf. So we will keep our eyes on Ida. We will talk with Ben Schott about Ida. We will talk with Dr. Josh Eachus tomorrow morning about what will likely become Ida today. But this is looking to be a very serious storm, and for the first time this season, something's looking to head in our direction. Now, batting leadoff this morning. The Delta variant has been a bit of a different player in the COVID game than the previous iterations of COVID. And a couple of the things we've learned along the way are it's attacking people who are younger. The median age of those who are contracting COVID-19 has dropped significantly. And the number of children who were affected has risen significantly. Yesterday, WBRZ put out their daily article with the latest numbers, where we're at the time, and the headline for that read, "Infant dies of COVID in Louisiana, state reporting 249 deaths in just 2 days." A child under the age of 1 did pass away day before yesterday from COVID. Don't know where in Louisiana, but did pass away day before yesterday from COVID. Yesterday we learned that a 14-year-old high school football player from Baker High has passed away as well. The story is BRZ reports that a local high school student athlete sick with the coronavirus died Wednesday. Multiple sources in Baker tell WBRZ that 14-year-old Patrick Sanders passed away Wednesday morning. Sanders was a 9th grade student at Baker High and played on the football team. 14 years old and passed away from COVID. The mayor of Baker put out a statement, which we're not going to get into right now, but later on in the show we absolutely will, expressing his grief, but very, very poorly worded and pretty much blamed the 14-year-old. We'll dive into that later on in the show. We're due up for a break, though. When we come back, LSU looks like they're going to kick off the 2024 season in Las Vegas. Joe Burrow getting set to make his preseason debut at least. And we'll talk a little bit about the NFL schedule as well. That's all coming up next on Talk 107.3. Before we get to that break, though, got to tell you about the folks over at Complete Collision Center, 2 locations, Plank Road in Zachary and Perkins at Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge. Plank Road, it's the bigger of the 2 footprints, to be sure, but you can get everything done at either location. One of the things that I like to talk about with Complete Collision is the fact that when you get into an accident, you're in for a battle with your insurance company. They're going to try to send you where it's cheapest for them. A number of shops in town have a deal hammered out with the insurance company ahead of time. And it sounds good. It sounds convenient. But what you have to keep in mind, though, is if you let the insurance company choose your body shop, you're not the body shop's customer, the insurance company is. Your safety is not their number one priority. Insurance company's cost is. That's why you need to go to CompleteCollision.com. CompleteCollision.com. Learn more about what they do and how they're here to serve you to get your family back onto the road safely. Don't let who you choose to repair your vehicle be your second accident. Check out CompleteCollision.com.
The team at Bencast Family Dentistry is excited to bring the same level of dedication and excellence to Baton.
Good in the black being on the camera.
Yep.
No, fair enough, but. Oh, bless you. I've been gassy as hell. Like I've been burping all night. My stomach has been like. Yeah. Now also remember, like when you're doing this and Brian like is talking to you on the break, make sure you're out of one and your mic is on too, because otherwise they won't. It'll just sound like a one-sided conversation on YouTube. Brian used to yell at me about that all the time because I always forget to turn my mic on.
Good morning, Tiffany. Good morning, Van.
Leave it on and then turn off part 1 and 3 or 1 and 4.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, I keep it off.
Hey, did you get those burrow cuts?
Yeah, I got them.
Okay.
What order do you want them in? Was it the order that you sent them?
Yes.
So let me see how they downloaded here. Been a long time coming. Looking forward to treating the game as a dress rehearsal.
Yes.
Okay. Bam, bam.
One of the best things I did in 2020 was call Premier South Roofing and Sheet Metal. They did such a great job on our roof that 3 of my neighbors hired them, and 4 houses on the next block did too. Thank you, Premier South.
So Brian, I noticed that you and Taylor gives you cues, Chuck doesn't. Do you want me to give you cues or no?
For what, countdowns?
Yeah.
For hard breaks, sure. But I'm pretty good about staying on the clock. 1 minute out for the non-hard breaks, but yeah.
And hard breaks are 31 and 50 every hour, right?
20.
20 in the 6
6:20.
o'clock hour for the Fox News.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. .616 Talk 107.
David Robbins, if you ever feel like you're going crazy,
617 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Getting into the Fox Business Report in just a minute. Couple of different items to touch on in sports today. The first of which is running down the NFL schedule for the weekend. No NFL game tonight. No Thursday night game for the what is essentially the last week of preseason, even though it's still 2 weeks till the regular season kicks off. Tomorrow night, the Colts will be at the Lions, the Eagles will be at the Jets, the Steelers will be at the Panthers, and the Vikings will be at the Chiefs. We'll break all that down a lot more tomorrow. Now, getting set for the weekend, though, Sunday at 3 p.m., the Dolphins will be at the Bengals. There were some questions as to whether or not Joe Burrow would be back before the regular season at all, if he'd see any preseason time. A little bit of rumor last week, but nothing to come to the surface. This week, however, Joe Burrow is going to see action for the Cincinnati Bengals. In fact, he said to reporters yesterday afternoon, this has been a long time coming.
Yeah, it feels great. You know, a lot of work was put into this, that not just from me, but from all the people around me to help me get here. So, I'm excited, but I think they're excited too.
And as far as how the plan laid out, how this mapped out to have him in this game before the preseason is over with?
This was the plan the whole time. We just didn't want to tell you guys. So I'm excited to get out there and have game type feel. I think it's important to going into this last preseason game to be as close as you can to having a game-like feel. And I'm going to be in the huddle during game one, so I need to be out there for the first play of this game. So I'm excited.
Now, it is still a preseason game nonetheless, though, if you're Joe Burrow and you missed as much of last season as you did, and while the offseason as well, rehabbing and whatnot, you do have to treat this game as if it were, well, the real thing.
No, it's a big deal. You don't want to, like I said before, you want to make game 3 of the preseason feel like game 1 of the regular season, and they need to hear how I'm going to call plays during a game. You know, they hear it in practice, but they need to hear it, you know, in a game-like situation. So it's critical.
You will see Joe Burrow Sunday at 3. LSU football is going to kick off the 2024 season in the Roomba. Yeah, Tigers will be in Las Vegas taking on the USC Trojans. This is the way the story is written. Michael Cobble posted this up at WBRZ. The LSU Tiger football team could finally get its match against the USC Trojans nearly 20 years after the two teams haggled over who was the national champion back in 2003. Sports Illustrated's Ross Dellinger reported on Wednesday evening LSU is finalizing plans to play the Trojans in Vegas to open up the 2024 football season. LSU officials could not confirm that the deal was finalized, but this comes from Ross. It's pretty solid. Here's Fox Business.
In this stack, you're going to see like a little blue with the eye in it, and it's going to say Fox Business Report. Before we get to it, delete it. It's going to have a little. It's got a blue icon. It's going to say Fox Business.
Morning, Tiffany. Morning, Van. Morning, Renee. Morning, Troy.
You haven't finished talking. It's going to automatically turn that pot on. So you will manually turn that pot on. You go down to see little trash can that says delete. Just click on that where it says it, and it'll delete. And then always go back and click it again to turn it on. And also, when we're doing audio for spots like that in Adobe, make sure it's in program 4 so YouTube can hear it. And then when it's done, take it out. So that way, when you do like the weather, they're not hearing the weather because then YouTube doesn't need to hear that. Very, especially with music because of copyright laws and all that stuff. So like if you happen to have the internet PC and 4, and you shouldn't, like I said, unless Brian wants you to play a YouTube clip for a segment he's doing, it'll mute that. So,
Can you kiss me?
How long ago been double dipped at? Like on air, YouTube live. How long ago been streaming on?
YouTube just recently.
2 weeks for me. Yeah, we were on Facebook Live before that.
Yeah.
But Facebook is kind of no subject to their rules a lot more than we'd like to be,
Yeah.
and lumped into a category because we're a news talk radio station that we'd rather not be lumped into.
The algorithm kind of screws us.
Yeah, the crappy thing is you got to start the audience over from scratch.
Yeah, that's the one thing. Like if you're on a Gmail account, you can't get on and comment. Right? Yeah.
From Facebook, yeah, but that's skewed from what we'd assume from the on-air stuff, which we could talk about that some other time. That's not during the show for that.
She's going to take over for the last 2 hours.
That's fine.
And then tomorrow we'll sit here and let her do the whole show.
Are you in tomorrow? I thought Taylor was back tomorrow.
No, I'm in tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then what it's looking like Monday, he's got the show.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I was told the day after Labor Day.
Oh, Kate, I was talking to Kate yesterday, and You're official. You clocked in your official day today. It's today. Yeah, we talked to Kay about that afterwards. Kay was making it sound.
All right. Whatever.
Nothing to worry about this morning on the roadways, especially on your interstates. But if you are in Livingston, one thing that could slow you down a little bit, there is a tree on LA 43, so the road is completely blocked right now between LA 40 and LA 442. But crews are working to get that out of the way. So right now, you could take Highway 55 to get around those delays, or the interstate is looking good here as well. That's your view right now. I-12 at Sherwood, you can see things moving right along there. Also,
624 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Going to be talking with Patrick Gremillion in our next segment. Patty G joins us every single Thursday. In fact, hey, Jake, can you run downstairs and let him in? He's here right now. So, next weekend, LSU will kick off in the Rose Bowl. Weekend after that, LSU will kick off at home on September 11th versus McNeese State. First home game at Tiger Stadium is, 2 weeks and 2 days away? LSU Athletic Director Scott Woodward is urging fans to prep ahead so they're not caught off guard with new policies, requiring, by the way, those who are 12 and up to either be vaccinated or show proof of a negative PCR test 72 hours prior to kickoff.
Ask everyone to plan and be smart about how they do and what they do in preparation for game day.
Scott Woodward was on our sister station yesterday morning, in fact. Masks are going to be required for those aged 5 to 11 to enter Tiger Stadium. Masks are highly encouraged for children younger than 5. I would encourage you not to bring children younger than 5 to a football game. I mean, it's a football game. You see it every year, but nonetheless. All right. Woodward says they're trying to make the game day experience as safe and enjoyable as possible, and they will try to help expedite the entry process with pre-screenings.
But we're going to go out to tailgates and pre-screen and do some type of pre-screening checking and get this and make this thing fun and easy, as easy as possible.
They've got a task in front of them. I mean, this is going to be monumental. Going from tailgate to pre-screen, folks, which...
That's interesting.
Yeah, well, it could just be as simple as if you get pre-screened at your tailgate, you get a little sticker on you or
Makes
whatever.
it easier to get in the stadium.
Exactly. It makes it easier for the people working the gates, because asking the people working the gates to handle all this is ridiculous.
And please don't give those people trouble. Please do not
You know,
do that.
that's a really good point as well. When it comes to game day, the person who's in front of you scanning your ticket is not the person you have beef with. That person's just there to scan tickets. They did not create policy. They do not dictate policy. You causing a problem for them is really just causing a problem for everybody in line behind you. If you've got a problem with the standards at an LSU game, if you've got a problem with the protocols, don't go. Take it up with the athletic department outside of game day, but when it comes down to game day, just don't go. Don't be that guy. What are those protocols? Well, it's either proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test that you need to get in. And by the way, that negative COVID test only applies to entry of the stadium, not tailgating on campus. If you're going out to tailgate but not going to the game, have at it. Have at it, Hoss. You don't need any of it. It's when you get into the stadium. It's when you're squeezing potentially, I know it's McNeese, it's not going to happen, potentially 100,000 people in one area. where you can't socially distance. It is still outdoors, though. I'm so torn on it because it is outdoors. And it is still their house, their rules. I get it. Woodward urges fans entering the stadium to practice social distancing around others who have not been vaccinated or tested so as not expose others in the stadium.
These policies do not affect tailgating, but please, for everyone, be very careful.
I mean, it's going to be what it's going to be. If they're allowing tailgating, and they are allowing tailgating appears to be returning to LSU campus this fall, according to the LSU sports site. LSU Athletic Director Scott Woodward announced on 104.5's Off the Bench yesterday, tailgating is going to be wide open and hopefully fun. This is one of the reasons why we're in such a weird spot with the Delta variant. Yesterday, we had 6,619 new cases. As of yesterday at noon, it was reported that 2,844 people were in the hospital. When we saw these numbers last year, everything would be shut down. Now, vaccinations are available and masking is a thing, but everything is wide open. We're supposed to be under the same sense of urgency from a precautionary standpoint, from a mitigation standpoint personally, but nothing's closed right now. So where are the alarm bells that we were hearing this time last year when it comes to the level of severity with what we're facing with the Delta variant? That being said, we'd all lose our minds if they shut everything down again. That's why it's just a weird place to be walking right now. It's a weird part of the journey to be 6,619 new cases, 12,226 total deaths. And yet 100% capacity. Hey, you guys go tailgate, but this is very, very serious. But go tailgate. Have a good time, you guys. But it's dire. It's conflicting. So you're going to have those who do take it seriously. You're going to have those who use common sense, and God bless you because there's not enough of us doing that. You're going to have those that use common sense, but you're also going to have those who take that as an excuse to, well, if it were really serious, would we be allowed to be out here? I mean, if it were serious at all, wouldn't they put up red flags on the beach and close things down? We got a break for news. When we come back from news, time to talk a little business. Patrick Gremillion, host of the Patty G Show. He's in next, right here on Talk 107.3 FM, the new flavor of talk. What up, dude? Nothing at all. I'm good. I'm golden. Hey, Christy's in. What's up, Buttercup?
These next 2 weeks, I'm out.
No, that's fine. I just couldn't remember if we talked about it, so that's why I texted you.
I don't remember either. Perfect. Yeah, I got St. Francisville this weekend, and then next weekend I'll be in Mississippi for a bachelor party. So.
Tiffany says, could you imagine bringing our 5-year-olds and expecting to still enjoy the game? No, I couldn't. You go bring a 5-year-old to a baseball game. There's a lot of downtime where they can run around under the bleachers or whatever. In fact, bringing a 5-year-old to a Rougarou game is ideal. Like, go play. Go play. Daddy's going to sit here in this cinder block house of baseball and drink beer. You go play.
I brought Christian when he was 5.
To an LSU football game.
It was LSU in like ULL. It was like
okay.
An unimportant game. Brought him there. He enjoyed it for the first quarter and a half.
Right.
He was like, I could tell he was bored, and I was like, all right, we can go. I mean, it's ULL. I'm not worried about ULL. That's the reason I brought him that game because I knew it wasn't gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
And like, I didn't mind leaving before
right.
halftime.
But what you could do is, if you want to go to the game, just either find a place you can watch it on the big screen from outside the stadium, or just tailgate and set up a TV and just stay there during the game and have your kids run around.
So at a certain point, we gave up our season tickets, and that certain point was the moment we had our daughter.
Yeah.
Well, 1 year after. We tried to manage for a year, and it was like, this is going to cost a lot.
Get expensive.
These little things, they not cheap.
It's expensive.
So
watch those seats
when we had Carrie, we the first season we tried to tough it out, and then after that it was like, I'll buy tickets when we can, but
Now you work every game.
now I work every game, so I can't even bring my kids to a game now. But whatever. Anyway, I much prefer this situation. So we would still go out tailgating, and yeah, the kids have a blast tailgating, playing cornhole or throwing the little. What's the thing with the? You get the. It's like a rack.
Ball and rack.
Ball and yeah. Why not?
What?
Ball and rack. The ball and rack.
The ball rack game.
The most underrated game out there, Can Jam.
Yes.
The frisbee into
Oh,
the
I
garbage
love
into
Can
the
Jam.
Can
Love
and
It's
Can
officially
Jam.
called Can Jam.
Can Jam.
Yeah.
Learned about that with my cousin's bachelor party.
Oh, it's a blast.
On the beach in Panama City Beach. Huh.
So they got
Can Jam's fun.
the official Can Jam, which also seconds as a great garbage can in the time of need.
I'm not using my Can Jam. Well,
No, you put a garbage bag over.
we
it.
have a knockoff Can Jam.
So we have like the green one called Gator Jam or whatever.
Mine's just from Five Below. Five Below is a dream.
So I don't fully understand what Five Below is. Is everything $5 and below?
How'd you crack that code? What are you, Robert Langdon?
I knew you were smart.
No, it's just really friggin' cold in there.
My little girl loves that store because they have the little poppets in there. And she goes,
Poppets.
Poppets, fidgets. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
called poppets. My daughter calls them fidgets. Abby calls them fidgets. They're just a way to kill time. And is it like to prevent a buildup of anxiety? I don't know what.
I guess. It's like little rubber things. You just pop them. Like, you know how you get the
And once you've popped all of them?
Packing popcorn.
The bubbles?
Yeah, bubbles.
Kind of.
It's kind of similar to that, except you just can keep doing it.
Right. Once you've, so they'll all be like popped out like a little bunch of little bumps, and you push all the bumps down to where they're all indentations, and you flip it over, and guess what? They're all bumps again.
Yeah. Bumps.
This sounds like fun.
Where do you want to start here?
I was just thinking about that. So, I think it would be nice to start with LSU
Yeah.
and lead into Sparkhound, and then if we have time, touch on the brand with GQ,
Okay.
because you can kind of see with LSU how they're starting to build a community around it, and it's like, well, do we need it? Boom, Sparkhound
Gotcha.
is proof of
So, yeah, that's
the dire need
Start with
for
LSU.
for tech
You played.
and
The Ellen after that. That's 2 minutes.
tech people, not even
Start the traffic.
technology. Technology's
Go.
there. It's just a matter of
Run
getting
the
people to
next set of commercials.
stay here and go to work.
Weather is next.
Plus,
So
I mean,
it's traffic.
somebody wants to
commercials,
recommend someone to
weather
Sparkhound, it's
before we come
$2,500 referral fee.
And that's how it is at the bottom of every
That's
hour.
awesome.
Yeah.
I think I said to anyone across the country,
Like,
not even just
once
in
we bring
Louisiana.
CBS News, it's at 31. That's so top of the hour 6, bottom of the hour 6:30, 7, like that. So it's always CBS, LRN, traffic, commercials, weather. Come back. You have Mathern's coming up.
Okay. Van says even during normal times, some
when you
fans
start
still
the-
cause
when you
problems
put
at the
traffic
gate
over
besides
here
being in the
after
stadium. I used to work the games.
That's-
God bless you for working the games, Van. That's not something I'm on board with.
That's a brutal few hours. I need to chit chat with Ronaldo. I need to get him on the show. Talk about his new sports cards thing.
Cards and culture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun to film the episode there. Actually,
God, hey.
But yeah, I normally get here about 5:15, just to make sure like I've got everything I need. But also I leave my house early. I live on the
638 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Time to welcome in Patrick Gremillion. He's the host of the Patty G Show. He joins us to talk business every Thursday, and, well, that's what we're doing right now. What's happening, dude?
Not a whole lot, man. It's Thursday. It's a good morning. You're dressed up, though. I'm curious as to why you're all dressed up.
We can talk about it later. So we got a lot of ground to cover, and this is going to revolve around business and tech.
Yeah, which is huge.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
it needs
is.
to be huge in Baton Rouge.
It is huge in Baton Rouge, but it needs to be even bigger than it is.
Right.
So, story from the Business Report, 5 of LSU's entities that support innovation and business development have joined forces under the new Office of Innovation and Ecosystem Development. LSU made this announcement, was it yesterday or the day before? I think this was 2 days ago. Today's Thursday. We established at the outset of this segment that today is Thursday, so this would have had to have been on Tuesday.
Yes.
The university's 200-acre technology park, Lsu Innovation Park, Louisiana Business and Technology Center, LSU Technology Transfer Office, and LSU-based Small Business Development Center, and the Office of Innovation and Technology Commercialization are now aligned under a new overarching organizational structure that aims to provide better support for entrepreneurship in the region. Now, those were a lot of words.
A lot of big words.
Those were a lot of words with a lot of syllables within those big words.
Yes.
But what does it mean?
It means that now they've got this new direction where they're bringing a focus on entrepreneurship. They're bringing a focus on getting the technology resources that businesses need. I mean, the Innovation Park has been there for quite some time, and they do an amazing thing out there where they offer to not only students, but also to people outside of LSU. So any business that wants to get started can go over there to the Technology Park, Innovation Park.
If you're going over to Innovation Park and you're looking for, if you were previously looking to make the dive into entrepreneurship, were they not able to help you, or how does this better focus them?
I think this better focuses them because they say they bring in 5 different groups, right? It's not just the Innovation Park doing it there. It's not all 5 of these organizations doing it separately. Now all 5 of them are joining together to work together for the same common goal.
Pointing in one direction.
Pointing around in one direction.
And that's the best song ever. I just want to see Chuck cringe. I make a One Direction joke, mention the best song ever. I see Chuck cringe.
Good job, B.
It's a story of my life, Chuck.
I know.
See, that was the second one.
I see that.
Yeah. All right.
So the article goes on to say they're giving people the ability to reach across these 5 organizations through one outlet.
Right.
Instead of having to go and hop to each different location that you would need, now you've got one office you can do it through.
I guess the biggest question here is what took so long.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
I rattled off those 5 organizations and 18,000 syllables, and they all do the same thing. So why would everyone be rowing in a different direction prior to this?
I don't know the answer to that. Part of me wants to say that each of them thought they could do it better, and now they realized, hey, why are we all trying to accomplish the same goal individually? Why can't we band together for the sake of the community, for the sake of businesses and entrepreneurs, and really make an impact?
Yeah, and it doesn't. It's a waste of time to ask why not until now, because just take advantage of it now that it's here.
Right. Acknowledge it's here, and let's see what we can do to make it move forward and become successful.
Right.
That was what we want it to.
Back to the story. The LSU Office of Innovation and Ecosystem Development, which I don't like the word ecosystem in this particular sense. I get why they're using it, but I see the word ecosystem, and I think like what's going on not within a business culture. You know what I'm saying?
So more of like an environment.
And yeah. Anyway, I think of the movie Biodome with Pauly Shore. How about that? The LSU Office of Innovation, like the bubble, you know? They live in the biodome,
yes.
the biosphere.
I do know that reference.
The LSU Office of Innovation and Ecosystem Development staff will work together to allow for easier access for the business community and better communication across the departments. Additionally, the LSU Innovation Park staff will maintain a presence at the park to continue providing services to current and future tenants. Now, a big part of that is the last couple words of that sentence. Current and future tenants. So when you talk about growing in the entrepreneurship space, we're not just talking about like somebody who wants to open a restaurant.
Right.
We're not just talking about somebody who has a brick and mortar somewhere in town. We're talking about getting into areas of technology where they can actually help. This isn't just about, Oh, I make candles, so I'm going to open up my own business selling candles on Etsy or whatever. Is that
Right.
what Etsy does?
Etsy, yeah, that is a platform you can sell
There you go.
your handcrafted goods.
This
Right.
is so far beyond that, and that's why I'm liking this, is because it is next level in that regard.
Yeah, it gives the ability for not only business people in the community, but also for students to have access to these resources. Prime example, I've got a past guest, Ben Wynn, who's in the Innovation Park. He runs a direct-to-garment printing service that is housed inside of Innovation Park with printers, with computers and technology, and they give him the space and resources he needs to grow his business successfully, and access to the wonderful offload docks, and he can bring in 18-wheelers worth of supplies. Had he gone and found a brick and mortar, it cost him a whole lot more, and he probably wouldn't be nearly as far as he is in his business right now.
So this is important in two regards. Number one, the entrepreneur who's looking to dive in, but number two, the tech worker who's looking for a home as well.
Yeah, the tech worker and students who want to try out an idea. They want to be able to try it in a safe area that they have the resources and also the expertise guiding them along the way. Innovation Park and the LSU's creating all this hub now allows for that.
Almost like an incubator.
Yes.
So we need our own LSU Ehrlich Bachman. You still haven't seen Silicon Valley. God. All right, but let's get back to the tech worker part because I think that's important. We have a dearth here. We have a complete dearth. That's not the right word. It's similar to the right word. We're short on folks.
Yeah, we're short on technology, folks.
Yes.
Everything from a coder to a web design, web developer, anyone in cybersecurity. We're short on technology people staying here.
There has been a concentration or an emphasis on developing this particular field for some time now. Is it just not taking hold?
I don't know the answer to that. Whenever I have guests on in the technology space, they say that's their hardest challenge is finding people who are in the tech world. And that being said, when I was at LSU, everyone there said, oh, we got to go to the tech hub. This is not the technology hub.
Right.
Baton Rouge is not the technology hub. So it's still this misconceived notion that Baton Rouge is not technology and is not a tech space, when in reality we are. We look at so many businesses that are building and growing in the Baton Rouge community that's like we are a technology hub.
Well,
we have the ability to
we
be
have
one.
we have the need to be one. We
Yeah.
have the potential to be one. We don't have the personnel to be one. And we're due up for a break. When we come back from the break, we'll tell you how bad it is actually. With one company who's offering bonuses. That plus we got to touch on there's another company out there who is getting a lot of national recognition, and we'll dive into that in just a little bit. In the meanwhile, we are due up for a break. He's Patrick Gremillion, host of the Patty G Show. Comes in every single Thursday. We talk a little business, we talk a little culture, we talk a little entrepreneurship and development. That'll continue in just a little bit. First, though, got to tell you about the folks over at Mathern's. We were talking about tailgating is back in full force at LSU this year. Well, that means you need to be ready to tailgate as well. That means swinging by Mathern's. They got one on campus. If you find on game day that, oh, what did we forget? Or, oh, we ran out of beer. Or, oh, we need to go get ice. Whatever the case might be. Mathern's, Nicholson at Skip Burtman Drive, the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center. They are directly across the street from Tiger Stadium. They are a full-service grocery store. They are here for you, not just on game day, every single day of the week. In fact, if you wanted to prep for game day the right way, download the Mathern's app. Get all your grocery shopping done via the app. They will bring it out to your car in your designated parking spot for app users. They'll bring it out to your car, and you are good to go. Now, the app works at either location, either Nicholson or downtown on 3rd Street. But it's all about convenience. It's all about service. Mathern's Supermarket, Nicholson, and the Gateway Shopping Center. I might have gone over by 5 seconds. Kill the mics for a second, Chuck.
4 minutes after 6 across the board for every station. It's not caught up.
It stopped grabbing audio?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do then.
I went to the actual site as well just to make sure it wasn't that, but it's like it literally looked like it stopped as soon as we started, which is very weird. Yeah, this works out because traffic's down like 47 seconds, so it should work. Get right up to 50.
Okay.
So 650. Rams it by 2 minutes. I'm going to write them down here too and let you take this sheet so that way you'll have that.
So how's been the YouTube switch for you?
Slow. As expected.
As expected.
As expected.
I swapped to.
It's basically right where we thought it would be. Right where we thought it would be.
Yeah. I've swapped to LinkedIn. I just
do YouTube.
no LinkedIn.
Oh, LinkedIn. Oh,
Yeah, LinkedIn Live.
I didn't really have one.
You have to apply and get approved. It's a whole big thing. But LinkedIn still does push notifications if you're following somebody. For when they go live, you get a push notification on your phone. So that's why I like it. In addition to that.
YouTube does that too if you subscribe.
Yeah, so it's the same thing as YouTube, but I want to keep YouTube as my polished videos, not my lives.
Yeah, okay.
And so I was gonna continue doing Facebook, but like Facebook killed it. Like legit, 1 week I had like 1.5 thousand views. Next week, 33.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not right. Like that's not.
That's
right.
what we were looking at on Facebook.
That's exactly what happened on Facebook. I'm like, that's not. There's no way that's accurate. I'm like, the video itself alone has 5 shares. How did it get 33 views? I was like, I'm done.
Yeah. We had one day where it was the number of people watching was showing at like 3. So I like texted a few people like, open up Facebook and pull up my video. And I texted 7 different people and asked them to do this, and all 7 of them did it.
It still said 3.
It still said 3. Like, it makes no sense. I've got it open here.
Yeah.
It was open on the other side there. You're telling me that.
One other person's doing it.
Right. When.
Were you having comments come through?
I was having comments come through from at least, probably close to a dozen people, plus the 7 I texted. Like, it just, nothing about it made sense. Don't forget to download the all-new Talk 1073 mobile app presented by Gregory Ricks and Associates. You can listen live. You can listen on demand. You can even set an alarm to wake up with this show. Or America in the Morning if you're waking up before the show. Or First Light if you're waking up before that show. Talk 1073 mobile app presented by Gregory Ricks and Associates. Or Kill Meat if you can sleep in. I mean, however it works out. Anyway, get the app today. Got Patrick Gremillion in studio, host of the Patty G Show. Let's get back into the need for more tech workers. I don't know if we're just like in a generational pause. Like if the attention to tech workers has started, but we're not seeing the payoff yet. I mean, we've got camps for kids to learn how to code in grade school at this point, but those camps haven't been around for more than a decade, so they haven't made their way through the process yet. And even if you had kids who were taken to this in high school 5 years ago, 6 years ago, how many of them left? How many did we not retain?
That is the question. How many people did we actually retain from these technology initiatives?
Right. We can educate kids in high school or college to do this, but to keep them here is another story. And that brings us back around to the overall demand and what one company in particular is doing to tackle that.
Yeah, Sparkhound. They launched an initiative to make every person in the United States a referral person by offering up a $2,500 bonus to someone who refers them a name that they get hired.
So if you give them a name and that name does get hired locally.
Yeah, because it's all for their Baton Rouge office.
Right.
And so if they're looking for 20 job openings at his Baton Rouge office.
I mean, that's a pretty significant clip right there to say $2,500.
Yeah, $2,500 to get people. That's what, 50 grand?
Yeah, $2,500 times 20 would be 50 grand. You're right.
And having that in place not only incentivizes people to start telling other folks about these job openings, it shows how serious they are.
The referral fee or the referral bonus or whatever you want to call it in total comes out to be more than the average salary, the average median income in Baton Rouge to begin with.
Right. And now that's not saying that these tech jobs are that much. Generally, tech jobs are going to pay a little higher, especially how specialized these jobs in particular are. But I don't know if it's a combination of other cities like the Amazons in Seattle or, Silicon Valley showcasing how great they are, and that's why it's so attractive to technology people. What can Baton Rouge do is always my question, to push, hey, we do have technology firms here that need workers. Stay here and help us grow.
It's just I guess having patience is going to be the hardest part about this.
Yeah.
Having patience and watching the process play out is going to be the hardest part about this.
It is. I mean, the article goes on to say that the person who they talked to at Sparkhound said some of their peers have 100+ job openings in the technology space. Like, the jobs are here.
Right.
The demand is here.
Right.
How do we get the people to stay here?
$2,500 bonus just for referrals is a good start. Yeah.
It is a good start.
More bonuses for those who are actually filling up the jobs would probably be better as well.
Yeah, a signing bonus to stay here.
But it's one of those things where success is going to beget success.
Right.
I kind of like getting into when the Louisiana Film Tax Credit started. There was no Celtic Studios. There were no studios down in New Orleans. It just started and has evolved over the course of, more than a decade now, to be sure. It's been a slow process, but we are seeing results. We are seeing we're competitive. Hollywood South is a thing. How do we make ourselves Silicon Valley South?
Yeah, and I think the technology firms here are starting to do that by getting their name out there.
And honestly, I think that this is going to sound weird. The pandemic is going to play a role in this. Because the pandemic has taught us you don't have to have Google headquarters. You don't have to have the Google campus in one spot or the offices of Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn, whatever. You don't have to be relegated to that. We all learned a very harsh lesson about how easy it is to work remotely. You can work from anywhere. Cost of living is going to be one of the biggest determining factors in the near future.
Yeah. And the flexibility of the workforce as well.
Yeah.
Rob Wise with IT, another past guest of the Matty G show, he was talking about how they're all virtual at the time of the interview. He said everyone's virtual, and we're still meeting clients' demands. We're still bringing on new clients.
Right.
We're doing all of our IT work from home, and everyone's happier about it. Everyone's got a great office setup. He said before we went into COVID, we said, hey, what does everyone need to work successfully from home? And as a tech company, that's huge.
What's amazing to me is the evolution of that over the last decade. I mean, 10 years ago, you had companies that were building out office spaces in old abandoned buildings, like an old railroad warehouse or something. It's retrofitted to get in there. Yeah, it's a cool vibe. Oh, we put beer taps and a ping pong table in the break room, and everybody lost their minds because, this is the coolest thing ever. Well, now it's the next step further. Now you don't even need pants. You can
don't stand up during the Zoom meeting.
Exactly. You can have the Zoom going on, reruns of MASH on the TV in the background, and you're still getting work done. As long as you're not showing a drop-off in productivity, though,
yes,
long-term, that's going to be a thing.
That's going to be the determining factor for continuing to work at home, those productivity levels. Work still getting done.
I know. It's so important, too, because that's something where when a CEO gets burned, he's not going back to it.
No,
or she's not going back to it.
As soon as they realize, people are watching reruns of MASH and not working because their productivity is going down. All right, no more working from home. Done. And they will nix it real fast.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough for especially an entrepreneur who is just getting started, someone with a dozen or so employees.
You need productivity through the roof.
Exactly. Exactly. It's like, this is my baby. I'm not. We're not talking about people that have to answer to boards of directors. That's another level altogether.
Right.
I'm talking about the person who invested their own time, hours, sweat equity, blood, sweat, and tears. Office started at their kitchen table. That person who is firmly entrenched, for them to let go to any level, to say, yeah, y'all work from home, it's cool. That's a big step. And to get burned on that, they're never going back.
No, not even a thought of going back.
We don't have time to get into the Arbornet thing. What's coming up on the Patty G Show this week?
Coming on the Patty G Show this Saturday on Talk 107.3 is going to be Taylor Bennett, CEO and founder of Mesh. Speaking of someone who started in their kitchen table,
Yeah.
he started in their garage.
So, the Patty G Show, part of Saturdays on Demand here on Talk 107.3 FM. It's a block of podcasts that run from 6 p.m. until 11 p.m. on Saturday night. Full run, no commercial breaks in between. You're going to wait till after the show to get to the commercials. So, Patty G Show, you will hear it Saturday night right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Of course, everywhere you get your podcast, and you will hear from Patrick Gremillion every Thursday right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Appreciate your time, man.
Thank you, Brian.
Absolutely. Here comes CBS World News Roundup.
Protect your retirement. The Presley Group time.
So what I do differently, what I do for top stores and trending, because there's a music bed that plays underneath the entire time while it's doing that. So what I do for this right here, I go to the hotkeys and I bring up the same hotkeys from the show. So with this one, I play the music.
Galen and Troy make valid points.
What?
Galen and Troy.
Oh, well, let me open YouTube back up.
Yeah, Baton Rouge technology firms must rely on telecommuting because high-tech skilled workers are not moving to Baton Rouge. Troy said, I
Okay.
agree, but we are a what? Parochial, thank you. Community going to take time to adjust.
Okay, so Troy's spot on. Galen's take is a bit too cynical for me.
Okay,
We said the exact same thing about the movie business a decade ago.
we did.
And anytime you want to grow, we said the
No
same
one's
thing.
going to film here.
We said the same thing about the biotechnology field as well, and look what Pennington has done. We could be whatever we want to be as long as we put resources into it.
Yeah. So then, Galen, in your opinion, what can Baton Rouge do to
Sell
attract,
seafood and LSU football
well,
games.
to attract, like he said, his high-tech son moved to Denver and many of his Louisiana friends. So what does Denver have that Baton Rouge doesn't?
Weed.
Outside of weed. Outside of weed. Weed's not the only factor.
All right. So what you have is, number one, you got to get rid of the traffic. Or telecommuting's the thing.
Alleviate it, yeah.
Yes. Number
Not going to
two,
eliminate it.
Number
You have to
two,
alleviate it.
you've got to get rid of the crime. The crime is a big factor. Number three, you have to expand like the hipness of the area.
Which I think we're starting to.
I think we're far enough along on that to where we can, yes.
I think, without, not wanting to throw blame, but I think the supply shortage from COVID has caused a slowdown.
But that's caused a slowdown everywhere.
Exactly. Like I'm saying, like Government Street is working on the revitalization of itself,
Right.
building new restaurants, building new attractions, but the supplies have slowed it down. But I
Right.
think that is going to play a big part because a lot of kids,
Huge.
a lot of people under 30 are moving to Mid-City, they're moving to Capitol Heights, they're moving to that area, and with Government Street as booming as it is already, bringing in more is just going to take it to the next level.
Sadly, our shitty schools aren't playing a factor in this.
No,
Because nobody fresh out of college is worried about what their kids are like.
they're not having.
How are the schools there before we move? No, I'll up and move again when it's time to send my kids to school.
Yeah, or they're waiting to have people
It's-
having kids later and later in life.
Yeah.
No weed, quality of life, mountains, winter fun, summer fun, much cleaner and safer city, etc. Not weed.
Your high-tech son's lying to you, Galen. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Allegedly. Man, you are all dapper. That's funeral attire.
It is. I need a new black pinstripe because this is wearing a freaking parachute right now.
You need a new shirt, man.
Yeah, I know.
But that's good things.
I know. Well, the shirt was old anyway.
You got to go to your people at wherever you shop.
Well, I don't know if I'm
Haskell's.
I'm not getting a black pinstripe from Haspel.
And go see Sam Willard at Harper's.
Yeah, it's probably my
Go see
next
Sam.
time. Yeah.
I mean, he's like he said on Monday. He's hefty. He takes care of hefty.
Am I hefty still?
No.
Okay. I'm gonna go dump this out. My stomach is sour today.
Oh, jeez.
I've decided a couple weeks ago that instead of driving to the gym and hopping on a treadmill, I would run to the gym, run/walk. That's a 2.3 miles is a trek for me. Caught me yesterday because I left Planet Fatness. They give pizza out on the first Monday of the month. They give you bagels if you're in there in the morning. Bagels. Get your bagels and your pizza at your gym. That's good. A gym giving out pizza is the equivalent of a dentist giving out Copenhagen.
Job security.
Yes. Ooh, it's not coming off. Yeah, I know it's not coming off. .705 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Thanks again to Patrick Gremillion, host of the Patty G Show. He hops in here every single Thursday to talk a little business, talk a little entrepreneurship, talk a little business culture as well. If you have not yet checked out the Patty G Show, I highly recommend it. Patrick has on different business leaders, different business people from around the area every single week. They take a deep dive into their own personal success story and how they got to where they are and how they can grow from where they are. It's a perspective on Baton Rouge as a whole, and I highly recommend that wherever you get your podcasts. Coming up this hour, I've thrown my notes everywhere. Is this it? In our next segment, Dr. Louis Minsky is the chief of staff over at Baton Rouge General. They announced this week they've got a new monoclonal antibody infusion lab opening up. 15 bays in this thing, can get upwards of 80 infusions per day. We're going to talk with Dr. Minsky in our next segment. Sergeant Don Coppola should be by later on this hour for Crimestoppers, but right now, though, we start off the hour with top stories and trending. Mobile beer, pedal-powered beer, could be a thing. EBR Metro Council approved the pedal carriages in downtown Baton Rouge, the pedal pub in downtown Baton Rouge. Grabbing the story from WAFB, though it came from yesterday's Metro Council meeting, the Metro Council members approved a change in ordinances allowing pedal carriages to operate in designated areas of Baton Rouge. The carriages are steered by a licensed pilot, but largely powered by the pedaling of passengers. They do have an electric motor to assist when you're too drunk. No. If necessary is the way it's actually written there. For example, if you're on River Road on Government Street and you're going up that hill right there, or I guess any street downtown where you go up that hill moving away from the levee, might need a little bit of motor support there.
It's exercise.
It is. Well, so we finally
At least that's
found,
what I call exercise.
Yeah, it's you've seen CrossFit.
Yeah.
This is Lager Fit.
Yeah, cross chuck.
It's Chuck Fit.
Chuck Fit.
Chuck Fit coming to downtown Baton Rouge. We finally found the workout that is created for Chuck. The owners of Pedal Pub had applied for a permit to operate the carriages in Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge Taxicab Board had to seek a change in the ordinance, though, as the bikes were not allowed in the parish. Herb Peart, COO of the company, said his goal is to allow riders to see attractions in Baton Rouge. He said the party bikes, as he calls them, carry 16 customers plus a driver in the front that would allow them to consume adult beverages while pedaling along the route. Now, if you sign up for this, everybody on there's got to be a grown-up, 21 and over across the board. It can't be like a mix of let's get 4 or 5 couples together and bring our kids. No, can't work out that way because of the way the licenses were stacked out. Peart said we take about a 2-hour route through the downtown area. Some areas people know about, some areas they don't. It's great for the city because it gives exposure on multiple levels. I got to tell you, the approach on this, the way it played out versus the way it was pitched a couple days ago, super enthused about the potential. We'll talk about it a lot more as we get closer to it. One person was arrested in a deadly shooting at Tigerland apartment complex. This is a shooting we reported on a couple weeks ago from the Sandpiper Apartments. The shooting was 3 weeks ago? Police have arrested 20-year-old Corin Davis in connection with the death of Jacques Jones that occurred at a Tigerland apartment complex. Last month. Baton Rouge Police Department said Davis was booked on charges of second-degree murder and illegal use of a weapon. This was at the Sandpiper Apartments in Tigerland. That apartment building has been the subject of numerous complaints. In fact, Hiller Moore joins us the first Wednesday of every month. When he joined us this month when he joined us in August for On the Air, we talked about this specifically. And that's available on demand on the Talk 107.3 mobile app presented by Gregory Rickson Associates. Authorities are investigating a shooting involving ATF agents and East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's deputies. The gunfire was reported around 5 p.m. yesterday on McHugh Lane in Baker. Sources said a suspect was shot by a law enforcement officer after approaching officers with a gun. The suspect was shot in the leg. No other details related to that person's condition were immediately available. Baker High's going virtual as of today and will be virtual all the way through Labor Day. They'll be back in classroom after Labor Day. Why, you might ask? Well, for a very sad reason. 14-year-old Patrick Sanders has passed away. Passed away yesterday morning, in fact. Sanders was ill with COVID-19. He is a 9th grade student at Baker High, played on the football team as well. Mayor Darnell Waits put out a statement about his passing. Darnell Waits said, "The loss of such a young life is always a tragedy, and the preventable loss of that young life is heartbreaking." Hopefully we'll have time somewhere during this show today to talk about that. That's terrible phrasing. Terrible phrasing. Oh, really? And what did this 14-year-old not do that he should have done that you're blaming him for his own death? Later. All right. Keeping it with COVID-19. A small child is among the more than 200 Louisianans killed by the coronavirus in the past 2 days. The state announced yesterday. Governor John Bell Edwards said the child was less than a year old and was among 110 deaths reported in the state since Tuesday. Health officials said it's the first time in more than 6 months a child that young has died from the virus in Louisiana. In total, 11 children, I'm guessing 12 now, including Patrick Sanders, younger than 18 have died in Louisiana since the start of the pandemic. So 12 over the last 18 months. Yesterday, by the way, was the second day in a row that Louisiana reported more than 100 deaths in a single 24-hour period. On Tuesday, the state reported 139. Louisiana yesterday reported 6,619 new cases of the virus with a positivity rate of just under 14%. Hospitalizations dropped slightly to 2,844, though that number is still higher than it was at any point last year. That is your top stories. Here's a look at what's trending this morning. Krispy Kreme is offering free heart-shaped donut to vaccinated customers. Anyone vaccinated against COVID-19 can take advantage of a special offer from Krispy Kreme. According to the donut shop, customers who show their COVID-19 vaccination record card will receive 2 free donuts, an original glaze and an original glaze heart donut. In a news release on their website, Krispy Kreme explained the reason for the new giveaway, stating, quote, "As the U.S. continues to scale COVID-19 vaccinations, Krispy Kreme wanted to find a way to show our support for those who are protecting themselves and others by getting vaccinated." They did that by contributing to the obesity epidemic that is a comorbidity in, more than 25 of the instances of death because of COVID-19?
Yeah, I don't know how smart that is.
I mean, so much. Masks and vaccinations, masks and vaccinations, masks and vaccinations.
Donuts.
That's the mantra. That's the mantra over and over again.
Yeah.
But when it comes to overall health, where have we been for the last 18 months? 18 months, excuse me.
Yeah.
Anyway, 713 Talk 107.3 FM. We got to take a quick break right here. When we come back, we're going to talk with Baton Rouge General about what they're doing. Monoclonal Antibody Lab. This is intriguing stuff, and we're going to talk about it next. I was long, and I didn't want to leave him on. I'll make it up on the back end of this.
He has a live read, but he'll make that up. When you see something like this, where it's like it has media asset not found, like this is just something that's connected to traffic. It'll have something related to like Baton Rouge mattress or Baton Rouge physical therapy or Mooyah. That's for him to do a live read. Just when you see that, you let him know.
Galen says, sorry, guys, but the comparison to the movie industry is a bad one. Are you going to waive state taxes to all high-tech employees to get them to move? No, it's not a bad comparison. It's just not apples to apples. You find a new plan of attack to get tech workers here. It's not, I'm with you, it's not apples to apples, but the point of that story what is you find the way to go after it, and then you go after it. Troy says, smart for a gym to give out free donuts. Yeah, I know, right? Drew says that pedal pub will likely fail, in my opinion. Too hot for all of that BS. I don't disagree, Drew. The humidity in downtown Baton Rouge on a summer day, I mean, that being said, there's ways around it. Get a little portable ACs that go underneath something and just push the air outward. You're wasting a ton of air, but keeping your riders fresh. Plus, beer is a hell of a sell. .715 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. So Baton Rouge General is diving into the monoclonal antibody treatments in a big, big way. This week, opening up a specialized treatment center. They announced it on Monday. It's a specialty infusion center at BRG's Bluebonnet location. The center will include 15 infusion bays that will allow them to perform up to 80 infusions each day of monoclonal antibody treatments. Joining us now to talk about that is Dr. Louis Minsky. He's the Chief of Staff at Baton Rouge General. Dr. Minsky, good morning. Welcome to Talk 107.3. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Brian. I'm well. Thanks for having me.
No, glad to have you on here. Glad to be talking about this. This is innovative, to say the least, rather than making it, going from ICU bed to ICU bed, centralizing this, making it a specialty. What brought this to the table?
The surge of the current coronavirus, the fourth surge, has been overwhelming, as we've talked about on numerous occasions. The hospitals are just simply overrun. The resources are maximized out. And with the treatment of the monoclonal antibody available for at-risk individuals, we hope to be able to reduce those that become more moderately or severely ill by giving them this treatment early on. It's one of the only proven treatments for outpatient patients that have proved to reduce the risk of hospitalization or severe disease.
Let's talk about monoclonal antibodies to begin with. I mean, from a layperson's perspective, what are they and how do they work against the coronavirus?
Well, first let me say that this technology was developed in 1975, so it is not new. It has been used in targeted cancer therapy for many years. Monoclonal antibodies are a lab-made protein or antibody that can be infused into the human body to take over the virus that is infecting the body, in short. By neutralizing the virus, we can hopefully reduce its effects on organs such as the lung.
And in the governor's press conference last Friday, he was talking about timing is of the essence here. Like, the earlier you get to it, the better.
That is correct. We know that most patients who become severely ill with COVID infection occur between 8, 9, and 10 days. So having the monoclonal infusion within the first 7 to 10 days is ideal.
And do we have enough data to show like just what the drop off is or how effective it is early?
We do. There have been some very good studies so far that show a 75 to 85% reduction in hospitalization and progression to severe disease, meaning the requirement for oxygen and even intubation.
All right. The lab itself or the center itself with these 15 bays, how is that going to play out in the hospital? Is it y'all have cordoned off a specific area? I mean, do people have to be wheeled down to this? How does this work?
Fortunately, we have the building outside of our main hospital campus on Bluebonnet, the Center for Wellness on the first floor. Mm-hmm. And we have a room, we have an entrance exit for these patients to be able to come straight into the 15-bed bays, receive their IV and infusion, be monitored for 30 minutes, and then discharged right back out. Hopefully the whole process in under an hour and a half.
Oh, that is fantastic. The way this works is you don't have to intermingle with the rest of the hospital is basically what you're saying. As a patient.
Absolutely. That's right. We have adequate parking. We have designed, as I said, an entrance where these patients can come straight in and into that infusion center. Of course, all the patients there already have COVID. Our nurses will be protected with their proper PPE, but it will not intermingle with anyone else. And remember, you mentioned about coming down from the hospital. This monoclonal antibody is not for hospitalized patients. It is not for those that are already requiring oxygen or that are becoming more sick. This is all preventive once you've been diagnosed with the infection.
Okay. Yeah, it's all important stuff, all important, like, just details along the way, because this is going to affect a lot of people. Dr. Louis Minsky, Chief of Staff at Baton Rouge General, is our guest. Dr. Minsky, from just an anecdotal standpoint, I've got a friend who has been vaccinated and has COVID right now and is having a bit of a rough go with it, but he doesn't want to do the antibody treatments until he feels like he gets worse. How do you work, let's say, triaging patients, or not within triaging? How do you work with patients telling themselves, I don't want to take away a bay from somebody else, I don't want to be around other sick people? How do you get them out of their own house to get down and do this?
Well, fortunately, with the opening of this center, we're going to have ample room for everyone who needs the infusion. Mm-hmm. That's the best of this, is the resources the state have given us to open this center. It should allow us to give those patients that need the infusion the opportunity to get it. There are studies that show if you were vaccinated and developed COVID, it is not as helpful as someone who is unvaccinated.
Really?
However, we have seen patients, smaller population, that are at risk with cardiovascular disease, immunocompromised, diabetics, older age, obesity, who, despite being vaccinated, do still become very sick. And so we're using the infusion even in those people who have been vaccinated. And remember, you don't want to wait till you're sick. You want to start the infusion early on in the course. You don't want to wait and see if I'm going to get sick or get worse, because by then it may be too late.
Exactly. And at the same time, don't, as you just stated a minute ago, don't let the thought that you're taking a bay away from somebody else. You'll have more than enough to serve everybody.
Absolutely. We feel that we'll have ample room to service our community well.
Now, the announcement was made on Monday that this would be opening this week. As of Thursday morning, are we open and running?
We are not. We should be open by Monday.
Okay.
We should be open Monday.
And how are referrals so far? I mean, it's got to be physician referred. You just can't just walk in off the street for this. But how are referrals so far? Are you starting to hear about it already?
We are starting to schedule appointments. I suspect that as we now know a more firm date on when we're going to open, that we will see more referrals coming in. We had a drop, as you mentioned in the earlier segment, that there were a slight decrease in the cases. Yesterday, we actually saw a little bit uptick in our emergency room of patients. We had school go back full-time this week with the rest of schools going in, and we're anticipating that we'll see more cases perhaps in the next week or two as a result of the schools going back in. And so we're going to have opportunity for infusions, even though we're late in the phase like we are.
Let's talk about that as well, since the monoclonal antibody would be different than natural antibodies your body creates. Are there any age minimums on these treatments? I mean, are kids be too young to get this?
This does have an emergency use authorization, and it's for 12 years and older with a minimum weight of 40 kilograms.
A minimum weight of 40 kilograms. Is there a maximum age?
No, there is no maximum age.
Are y'all modeling this off of another center somewhere else, or have you just dove in head first and just taking this on?
We've had our express carers for the Baton Rouge General given these infusions for several weeks now, just on a much smaller basis for the lack of resources. All of our nurses are currently being utilized in the hospital, as you can imagine. And around the country, you've certainly seen other infusion centers do very similar. And this was an opportunity with the help of the governor and LDH to give us these extra nurse resources. We had the capacity with room and chairs to simply be able to set this up and start moving.
80 infusions per day, is that a goal, or is that where is that a reach for a goal, or is that pretty conservative estimate?
We believe that if we can reach 80 infusions a day, based on what we're seeing in our emergency room, urgent cares, and our referrals from our physician clinics, that we should be able to take care of our patient requests very well.
One more before we get you out of here. Dr. Louis Minsky, the Chief of Staff at Baton Rouge General, is our guest. We're talking about the Monoclonal Antibody Special Infusion Center at Baton Rouge General's Bluebonnet location. Actually, I've got two more for you before we get you out of here. Number one, are there any projections on how much a number that you can reduce of hospitalizations because of this?
70 to 85% is what most of the studies, the better studies, are showing. Pretty solid. And we know that we have been admitting between 10 and 20 a day. If we're able to reduce that by 70%, that would be awesome. Because every 10 patients that we admit to the hospital, one of those go to intensive care. And we know that our intensive cares have already been beyond capacity for weeks. And so it's a whole progression, and we look at COVID as a timeline from infection to development of symptoms to that 8 to 10 day window when patients typically become most ill. And by then, it's really too late for any outpatient care. So we need to nip this in the bud early. We want to seek out our high-risk individuals that would potentially benefit from this infusion and get them to the center.
This is going to be at the Baton Rouge General Bluebonnet location. How easy or difficult would this be to create a template to replicate it at the Mid-City location, and if it proves to be as successful as it sounds, to replicate to other hospital systems?
I think it would be easy. I actually think the other systems are probably already working on this very similar on a smaller scale. I think the need is nursing staff to be able to do this. It's a one-on-one monitoring situation with nurses, or one on several patients, I should say, to be monitored throughout the infusion and then for the 30 minutes after. So it's really limited by your availability of nursing staff. We can usually find the bed space.
Dr. Louis Minsky is our guest. Before I get you out of here, and I greatly appreciate your time this morning. Before I get you out of here, I got to ask, just from a anecdotal, like a personal editorial standpoint, what's the learning process been like through COVID-19? I mean, there's been so much tragedy, but at the same time, so much innovation and so much learned along the way. What's that process been like from your standpoint of just seeing your industry adapt on the fly?
It's been rather incredible. I've been in practice just over 33 years, and except for HIV, I've never seen us learn so rapidly with any one given disease, particularly an infectious disease. And in the 18 months with 4 surges, each surge we have learned how to better treat our patients, what to do, what not to do, specifically what makes a patient worse, what makes a patient better, how do we keep them from requiring dialysis, how do we avoid intubation. What do we do in the preventative aspect? We know that masking and vaccines work, and we just keep pushing for that, because until we're able to stop the replication of this virus and the variants from developing, we'll not be able to stop the pandemic. And taking care of our other patients that we forget about, the non-COVID patients. How do you still see your heart patients, your heart failure patients? How do you get your bypass surgeries performed? The cancer surgeries that need to be done. We have learned how to utilize our staff and our nurses and be able to take care of the acutely ill in one part of the hospital, our COVID patients in another part of the hospital, and then get those patients in who also need the more urgent and acute care. Very taxing. It's been phenomenal to watch. Been very emotional as well as physical draining. But we've got great medical staff. We've got great teams of nurses and physicians. And I suspect that that's not just here in Baton Rouge. I suspect around the country, as you read articles and you see these stories, it's very emotional to take care of a patient who has COVID, and you lose them knowing that this is a preventable disease. I think that's probably the most tragic learn of all, is that this is preventable. And until we make that mass effort to prevent this infection from spreading, we're going to continue to see it.
Yes, it is preventable. At the same time, though, there are people who are taking every precaution out there, taking every preventative measure out there, and still contracting it at the end of the day. But treatments like this, innovations like this, they're going to be game changers throughout. Dr. Louis Minsky, can't thank you enough for the time this morning, sir.
Thank you for your time this morning, Brian, and for getting the word out there. Have
Always.
a great day.
Yes, you do the same. Coming up on 731 at Talk 107.3 FM. I hate that word, preventable. Yes, it is preventable. Yes, I get it. This ties back into what I was talking about with the mayor of Baker, Darnell Waits, saying that a 14-year-old died from something he could have prevented. I get where the word comes from. I get why it's being applied here. It's an encouragement to wear masks. It's an encouragement to get vaccinated. But you can wear a mask all day long and still contract COVID. You can wear a mask all day long and still be and you can get vaccinated and still be a breakthrough case. It's preventable, makes it sound like it's closer to 100%. And as we've learned, nothing is 100% with this. Here's CBS News. Gosh, so much to unpack from that. That was fantastic. I want like an extra 10 minutes just to go through, like to recap everything he said. If you've been vaccinated, it's probably not going to be as effective. But if your doctor tells you to go anyway. Like, that's important. You're not going to take away a bay from somebody else. That's important. How about old Teddy B? Teddy Bridgewater. God, I'm going to be a fan of that guy for the rest of my life now. I mean, yeah. I mean, he rolled in. He did what he was supposed to do. And, it sucks it didn't work out the way it could have, but, Dapper Don, get it? Tell that you were downstairs? Oh. Yeah, I sent you a thumbs up. Tell me you're dressed up for a better reason than me.
I'm trying to get like you. Look at you.
I'm going to a funeral, so. Jeez. There you go. Looking good. I like a yellow tie. I'm a yellow tie guy. Yeah.
But I need to get with Gordy if I get my own little
key card? Yeah, good luck with that shit. Yeah.
I mean, do you have yours?
Yeah.
Somebody.
Don, you want to come down and apply for a job? You're more than welcome to. You got some free time on your hands? You want to produce radio?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that how I do it?
Yeah. Until the lobby's fully open, that's how it's going to work. Even then, the lobby doesn't open. Like, I'm on the air an hour and a half before the lobby opens, so.
I'm gonna ask. Say look. Brian says I bother him every Thursday morning.
Nope.
Trying to get in the building.
Don't you dare throw me under the bus.
Yeah, you just can't see it.
But I have some fugitives.
All right.
We can talk about whatever else.
Hey, before you fire off the spot break, come back to me for 60 seconds. I got to live read the get in. Okay.
So don't get
As soon as the news is over with, just turn my mic back on. 25, okay.
Buddy, what a horrible weekend, wasn't it?
Yes.
Crash on the interstate.
Yeah. Hang on 1 second. Got to take 60 seconds to tell you about the folks over at Baton Rouge Physical Therapy. BRPTLake.com is the website. They bring you the outside in every single day because, well, that's where you'll find them. Got locations in Ascension and Livingston as well as here in East Baton Rouge Parish. 6 locations. To find the one nearest you, visit BRPTLake.com. They've been doing this for a while, y'all. They introduced Baton Rouge to physical therapy 58 years ago, which means they know how to treat you no matter what it is that's ailing you. You've got a little physical pain that's keeping you from being your best you, visit brptlake.com. When you're ready to set up an appointment, call 917-9185, 917-9185. Get a complimentary screening at any of those locations and move forward. Get back to being your best you with physical therapy at brptlake.com. That was about 10 seconds short, but that's fine because we hit them again during the outside in segment.
How's basketball?
For Kerrigan, great. Coach Zach is. There's some things she can be working on. There's some things she is working on. There's some things we just can't do because we don't have a goal at the house.
Yeah.
But she's moving along. I tell you, we've gone from 1 session a week to 3.
Nice.
We've gone from him working with her by herself to him saying, "Why doesn't she come play with the rest of the SJA developmental squad?"
That's good.
So she's moved up to being with the other girls now. The girls did like the team she got cut from, basically.
That's good, man.
Now, still not 100% that she's going to be on the team. That's still
But
not.
she's making progress.
She is making that progress. She's putting in the work.
And at least she's not stagnant or even going backwards, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So. We're gonna. All right. I completely forgot to share the show. On Facebook this morning. Damn it. Gotcha.
Buddy, hopefully that storm is going to go somewhere else.
It's looking more and more like this is going to get us in some way, shape, or form. It might be to the Vermilion side, it might be to the Terrebonne side, but
It's not
all
really Cuba yet, is it?
Here. So it's looking like it's just, you see that hole right there?
Yeah.
Shooting right through there.
I'm
Now,
sure it could jive.
steering it, I wouldn't be shocked if it hits the Mississippi-Alabama state line before it's all said and done. But
Yeah. I'm so tired of those things, man.
well, we've had a relatively light season here so far. I mean, last year sucked, bud.
Let's just keep it.
Yeah, I know. We can afford a year off.
I mean,
739 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Time for Crimestoppers. Time to welcome in Sergeant Don Capola. Don, what's happening, man?
hey, good morning. How are you?
I am doing well. I hope you are as well.
No complaints.
Good deal. Good deal. We got a lot of ground to cover today. You brought in a stack over here. We're out to catch some bad guys today.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
All right, let's dive right in. Who are we looking for?
So we're going to start off with Zachariah Smith.
Okay.
Zachariah Smith, 20-year-old male, wanted by the Baton Rouge Police Department on charges of 3 counts, first-degree attempt murder, 3 counts of simple criminal damage to property, and illegal use of a weapon. So investigators believe that Smith was in some type of a relationship with a female acquaintance.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, the relationship was ended. It's believed that he learned that she may have been seeing someone else. So he reaches out to the victim, one of the victims, lets her know that he's on the way over and he's outside the residence. So she and some family members walk outside. Well, he opens fire. Luckily, no one gets hit by these rounds that are fired. Some vehicles are damaged. But
I'm sorry, go back to the beginning. He was cheating or she was?
it's believed that the relationship ended.
Okay.
And he learned that she may have
She
been
picked up with somebody else
picked up
after the
somebody
fact.
else,
Gotcha.
and it sounds like
Okay, so
he
it wasn't
may become jealous over
cheating.
this.
It was just she moved on and he
Moved
wasn't cool
on,
with
and
that.
He wasn't cool with that.
All right.
So, again, shots were fired. No one was struck, thank goodness. Some vehicles, property damage occurred, but that's better than someone's life.
Absolutely. Nonetheless, though, I mean, the intent was clearly there.
It was. So Zachariah Smith, 20 years of age, is wanted by the Baton Rouge Police Department. 3 counts of attempt first-degree murder, 3 counts of simple criminal damage to property, and illegal use of a weapon.
Zachariah Smith's the name. Last known address, do we have?
It shows off of Harding Boulevard.
Okay.
Not sure if that's still a good address or not, but someone out there knows of him and his whereabouts, and we just need that individual or individuals to call.
I mean, the old adage, if you truly love something, set it free, right? Nobody ever said if you truly love something, fire a bunch of bullets at it.
It's who would have ever
I don't
guessed?
like if you were hoping to get her back. Do you really think that was the move that was going to be the
not
clincher
way.
there?
That's-
You know what would it'd be great if I just drove up on her house and just fired a gun a bunch of times. She'd take me back in a heartbeat.
I don't understand.
I'm not asking you to understand.
I wish I could break that down, but I don't.
I mean,
I don't understand.
Yeah, the guy might have a future in prison, but definitely not a future in dating advice for sure.
No. Moving on, again, Baton Rouge police are looking for a Shermaine Jones, 23 years of age, on the charge of interference with custody of a child.
Oh, no.
So this is an incident where the child is the one that suffers in this, ultimately.
Yes.
No doubt. So this is a small child. Investigators believe that the child is actually Shermaine's child, but during whatever custody it was awarded, temporary custody was awarded to another family member. So Shermaine had made arrangements with that family member to go visit the child. Everything was fine. While she's there, hey, let me take this small child to the store, buy some clothes, whatnot. Everything was agreed upon. a time was set for them to be back. They have yet to return.
Okay.
So family members have reached out to her, text, phone calls. She quit answering the phone, not replying to text. So it is believed that she is still in possession of this child.
It's got to be a tough case because it's her child. I mean, granted, the court has ruled the way the court has ruled, but I mean, that from her perspective, she's got no reason to ever surface again.
Well, and again, the child is the one that's going to suffer. And
100%.
And whatever led to the court making that decision, you're not helping yourself out by not abiding by those court orders.
Yeah.
Whatever the situation may be.
Let's pause right there because this is a good time to talk about Crimestoppers as a whole. Because it was Charmaine was her name. Mm-hmm. If I'm Charmaine, I'm not in Baton Rouge. If I were in her situation, I would just go. But Crimestoppers has shown on a number of occasions to have reached well beyond our individual area. Crimestoppers has a network that goes basically anywhere, and you can help out wherever you're at.
It's worldwide.
So if she surfaces in Montana tomorrow, there's a Crimestoppers in Montana that will contact Crimestoppers here. Conversely, if you hear of a story of like, let's say there's a Charmaine that's from Detroit that relocated down here, similarly you can help in a reciprocation there. You can contact Crimestoppers here about hearing about something that didn't originate here. Naturally, we want to solve all the crimes that are here, but that doesn't mean if it involves someplace else, you should stay quiet about it because they can still help get back to the root cause or the home base, if you will, of where the crime originated.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. And even if you cross state lines, you are still getting paid. Your identity will remain anonymous, and you are still going to get paid. So yes.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, there was a crime that originated here but was solved in Colorado, or a tip came in from Colorado a couple months ago. I think it was a couple months ago. Timelines are so skewed with COVID, but I vaguely remember it.
I vaguely remember.
So how does that work from a reward standpoint? Is the money then sent to the bank that helps out Crimestoppers locally there, in order to get the person who gave the tip paid?
Yes. So we would contact that organization, get the specifics on how they pay, where they pay, and arrangements would be made for that individual or individuals to receive their monies anonymously through that institution.
Well, and the off chance that Charmaine did stay, if you know Charmaine and she's popped up anywhere you are and you've seen her, 344-STOP is the phone number. 344-STOP is the phone number. If you see Charmaine in the parking lot at a grocery store, snag a picture of her license plate with the P3 app. The P3 app is unbelievably valuable. It's an unbelievable, valuable resource when it comes to just the level of reporting of crimes.
Better to have and not use than need and not have.
Exactly. It's been the case with me, just sitting there on my phone, Don.
Well,
I've yet to be involved in a crime, yet to see a crime, yet to be... Although there was...
But you never know.
So I was on North Sherwood the other day. I was at the Walgreens on Sherwood at Florida, and man, it was no fewer than half a dozen units taken off up Sherwood towards Choctaw.
Oh, wow.
I was like, dadgum. I went ahead. I was like, it was so close. I like opened the app. I was like, let me have this open just in case somebody comes zooming by. Nothing,
Wow.
though. Nothing. I
Well,
was no help.
At least you thought you were ready, just in case.
I was waiting, man. I was waiting.
Just
I was
in
going to
case.
submit a pic or video or something. All right, what else we got?
Chaz Handy, 34 years of age, wanted on the charge of identity theft. It's believed that he unlawfully compromised someone's identity.
Yeah, if my name was Chaz Handy, I'd want to steal somebody else's name to be.
For the use of some energy and cock services at a residence in the Baton Rouge area. At no point in time did the victim give permission. It's unknown if
He jacked somebody's cable?
And electric. Yes.
Okay.
And electric.
Like,
So,
is this some kind of high-level thing where he set up his own account, or did he just run like an extension cord and a splitter?
no, he actually set up his own account.
Wow.
Using this
Okay.
information. Yes. And you know, you hear it so often, and you get the calls that are annoying on the phone, that from either the Social Security office or wherever it may be, or auto warranty, and the problem is that some individuals are scared to think that their account is in jeopardy, or from another bank institution, and so they play along, and next thing you know, your identity is compromised. And
identity theft is something that we will forever be playing catch up on, because no matter what happens, the criminal's going to be thinking of the next scheme before the solution to that scheme is thought of.
And some of these schemes are really high tech, and we've had some of our investigators with financial crimes in here explaining that, and it's just it seems like they're staying a step ahead.
And they always will, because there's no reason to figure out how to solve a crime until the crime has happened and you've seen the way it's played out. In the meanwhile, Crimestoppers is here for you. 344-STOP is the phone number, 344-STOP. Of course, there's the Crimestoppers website if you want to get a look at any of the mugshots and whatnot.
www.crimestoppersbr.com.
Crimestoppersbr.com. And, of course, download the P3 app. We repeat it as often as we possibly can. Let's hope we can help find a couple of these folks, although Chaz Handy's got to be a made-up name. There's no way Chaz Handy is Chaz Handy.
We will see. We're waiting on those calls to come in.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. Don, we always appreciate the time, man. Thank you so much. Chaz Handy. Your boy jacked some energy and some cable. We got Your Money Now coming your way right now on Talk 107.3 FM. The Outside In is next. Chaz Handy. That just sounds like a made up name from start. Like that sounds like if someone entered witness protection in a movie. Right. I've been relocated to Branson, Missouri. My new name is Chaz Handy.
Next week it'll be Susan. I won't be here.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll be on a flight to Colorado.
Why is everyone going to Colorado?
Well, I have both my boys there.
Oh, yeah.
So my youngest is established a little hernia in boot camp.
Oh, no.
So he has to have surgery. So the missus is going Monday, surgery's Tuesday, and I'm just going to go Thursday. So
okay.
That's another
So will
reason
that count as, well, that'll be September.
It'll be September.
Right.
And then she may have 2 in September. And they do such a great job. Susan's such a nice.
Oh no, she isn't. Yeah, there hasn't been a whole lot. There's a lag there where it was like, do I care? But like, she's been bringing good content lately for sure.
Content.
Hey, Byron says on YouTube, we are working with Don's brother to update our phone systems. Nice guy. So shout out to your brother, Byron.
Sweet. Tell him hello and thank you.
All right. He said, well, you just did because your mic's on. So.
Okay. Thank you.
All good. Oh, everything else good? Nichols.
Everything's good, man. Everything's good. Staying busy. You know, the guys and gals are making arrests. Another homicide arrest yesterday.
The one from Sandpiper?
From Tigerland.
Yeah, Sandpiper's in Tigerland, yeah.
Yeah.
The apartment complex where, I mean, really, y'all could just set up a satellite office in that complex. Why isn't there a precinct near there?
Well, there is on Island.
Yeah, but it's way the hell over. I mean,
but even though there's not a precinct, there's people assigned to that area.
Yeah, for sure. It's like the downtown one that's in the parking lot. Yeah,
That's a nice precinct. Buddy, I worked out of that for a little while before transferring to another division.
Like that.
Downtown's a nice. Downtown's
a
nice gig.
Yeah.
A lot of people, a lot of nice people.
It's only once in a while that a car comes whipping up Florida, then around the corner and smashes into a building. That doesn't happen often.
It doesn't happen often.
August has been tame for homicides. What are we at? 3 for the month? 2 for the month?
I don't know. I wish you didn't say that, but it's just a total, man. It's the total.
Oh no, and we could go 2 a month for the rest of the year and still not get down to the average, or still not get down to set a record.
But people see the number, and the number is bad.
Totally.
But the clearance rate is still with or above the national average. Okay.
And hey, can you kill the mics for a sec? This. 7:55, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Thanks again to Sergeant Don Capola for stopping in for Crimestoppers. And be on the lookout, Chaz Handy. They're coming for you. Coming up next hour, what is the latest on Ida? Is Ida even Ida yet? Not yet, but will be soon. We will have a tropical system in the Gulf of Mexico probably by tomorrow night. Ben Schott, meteorologist from the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration, hops on the hotline at 8:15 to talk about it. And, yeah, it is looking like more and more like this could be a Louisiana thing. This could be a Louisiana storm. Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, even Florida, Panhandle. The entire Gulf Coast is basically within the cone of uncertainty. That's all coming up next hour. Right now, though, every day we take you outside of East Baton Rouge Parish to check in on their surrounding areas. Baton Rouge Physical Therapy, brptlake.com, brings you the outside in. Down just a little bit.
It's time to step outside of East Baton Rouge and get inside our surrounding parishes. About time for me to be hitting the old dusty trail. Really explore space this time. I mean, really. Yeah. Explore the space. The Outside In, presented by BRPT Lake. With 6 locations and extended hours to fit your needs, BRPT Lake has got you covered. Schedule online now at brptlake.com. The Outside In is coming your way now. We gotta get out of this town. Yeah, and go where? Where are we gonna go?
Starting off in Monroe, graphic body camera video kept secret for more than 2 years shows a Louisiana State Police trooper pummeling a black motorist 18 times with a flashlight. An attack the trooper defended as, quote, pain compliance. The May 2019 beating following a traffic stop left the guy with a broken jaw, 3 broken ribs, a broken wrist, and a gash to his head that required 6 staples to close. The encounter near the motorist's home came less than 3 weeks after troopers from the same embattled agency punched, stunned, and dragged another black motorist, Ronald Green, before he died in police custody on a rural roadside in northeast Louisiana. The death of a runaway teenager from Houma, found dead in a wooded area of Tangipahoa Parish, has been ruled a homicide. Tasia Folse, 14 years old, was found dead in a secluded area east of Ponchatoula after a driver spotted her body back in July. Detectives with the Tangipahoa Parish Sheriff's Office officially ruled her death as a homicide yesterday. The department shared a sketch of a recent tattoo found on Folse's left arm, asking anyone who recognizes the artwork to come forward. Detectives believe it'll help in the investigation. The New Orleans Police Department actually first reported Folse missing February 20th of this year. Next stop, Point Capee Parish. 74-year-old Butch Morsi was found safe, according to the Point Capee Sheriff's Office. Morsi recently went missing near the Racorsi Island area. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. Racorsi Island area. Law enforcement agencies from Point Capee and West Feliciana parishes got to work on it using helicopters, canines, asking community members for help. Fortunately, they were successful in their endeavors, and Butch Morsi is back home. Closing out in St. Tammany Parish, and this is a very, very sensitive story. East St. Tammany, to be specific. A man was arrested after allegedly sexually abusing 2 of his dogs. The St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Office said they searched 52-year-old Kenneth Starling's home after a complaint was made about his inappropriate behavior towards animals. They found video. He copped to a few of the accusations and was booked with 32 counts of abuse of animals of, well, that particular nature. What's wrong with people? That is the Outside In, presented by Baton Rouge Physical Therapy, brptlake.com, brptlake.com. Whatever's nagging you, get back to being your best you when it comes to physical ailments. Get back to being your best you with Baton Rouge Physical Therapy. Quick break for CBS News. When we come back, it's time for This Day in History. Next on Talk 107.3 FM.
Protect your retirement. Visit safemoneyplan.net. It's 8 o'clock.
Are you handling it? Okay. At a certain point, I'm going to need to learn your last name. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Shit. And I should have a Beef Industry Council read today as well. Because the way their schedule plays out, it's just Thursday and Friday. I got to get that, if you'll pardon the pun, beefed up for the next time they re-up. It's only 3 more weeks of the Beef Industry Council. Then I haven't decided where we're going with it next. I'm thinking we might do a month of pizza, but it was brought up to me. How? Like, you can't prepare a pizza. What, are you just going to fling sausage on a blank pizza and pull out a already made one? Kill the mic for a second. Now, kill CBS traffic.
Traffic is certainly filling in inbound on I-12 this morning. Right now, we're noticing south around Rouge here. Also noticing it's kind of filling in here on 190 and Rains Avenue as well, all the way to the interstate. So getting through this congestion on I-12 will take you a good bit of time here, about 46 minutes. That's from Hammond all the way to the 10-12 split. Otherwise, things moving right along on I-10. No real cause for concern there. We are beginning to see.
Here's a random question. Who's the most underrated player in Major League Baseball history? Okay. No, Babe Ruth is properly rated. I'm going to make the case for Paul Molitor. And it's because of a guy on TikTok that I'm doing it. Have you seen him yet?
No.
There's a guy on TikTok. He's from somewhere in New York. He's got a bit of a lisp. Big hoop, like earrings, glasses. And I'll tell you about it later. Yeah. Eight 805 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Hour 3 of Mornings with Brian Haldane. Coming your way right now. Brian here with you. Jake Ryan producing. Not Jake Ryan. Oh, that's going to stick now. Jake Barty producing in training today. So Chuck moves to the back seat for just a minute while Jake takes over. Hey, we got a busy hour this hour. Ben Schott from the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration going to hop on the hotline in our next segment. Why? Ida. Not like the contraction for I would have, which should have been I'd have. I'd have thought you'd have had him on sooner. No. Potential tropical system, Ida. Right now it's Invest 99L. But probably going to be Ida before the end of the day. Probably going to be in the Gulf of Mexico by tomorrow. The entire Gulf Coast is within its cone, if you will. But a number of forecasters are actually narrowing this thing down to being a Louisiana storm, if not slightly east of Louisiana. So we're going to talk with Ben Schott about Ida in our next segment. 8:40 this morning. Looking forward to this. Siobhan, Fallon, Hogan. actress Siobhan Fallon Hogan. She's an SNL alum. She's done a number of comedies. Well, now she's taken on a different role in a movie called Rushed. She plays the mother of a kid who was hazed to death, and it gets loose from there. I mean, she walks you through the struggle of a mother who loses her son, and then she goes round the bend seeking revenge. We're going to talk with Siobhan Fallon Hogan at 8:40 this morning. Right now, though, actually before that, give me 60 seconds to tell you about the folks over at Mooyah. This Saturday noon to 2, I'll be at the Mooyah on Blue Bonnet at Highland. Noon to 2, Blue Bonnet at Highland. Come on out, enjoy yourself a campfire burger, maybe a s'mores milkshake. Oh, I know I tell you about the burgers every day. The milkshakes, though, I can't wait to go away so I can dive in on this so much better. Real ice cream milkshakes. That sets a different tone when it comes to the milkshake. It's going to be thicker. It's going to be creamier. It's just going to taste better across the board, as opposed to those, the soft serve milkshakes or the milkshakes they make from powder at certain places. Not at Mooyah. You're getting top quality ingredients in your burger, top quality ingredients in your fries or your sweet potato fries dipped in honey, and, of course, with your milkshake as well. Real ice cream milkshakes. The s'mores milkshake is the shake of the month over at Mooyah Burgers, Fries, and Shakes. They're available at both locations, Blue Bonnet at Highland or Segan just north of Industrialplex. Saturday noon to 2. Come on out, Blue Bonnet at Highland. I'll be there. All right, right now, every day at this time, we go back in time. Today, Jake takes the helm for This Day in History. All right, dude, what you got?
Good morning, everybody. Time for This Day in History. My name is Jake Barty. Brian.
Yes, sir.
Let's get started right at...
Give yourself a little more volume.
Volume?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, starting off in 1920, the 19th Amendment guaranteeing women the right to vote is formally adopted into the U.S. Constitution.
All right, suffraging into effect as of today, 99 years ago.
Just about, yeah.
Yeah.
1939 on August... Well, I
was going to make a Jay-Z reference there. Oh, by the way, I will interrupt you horribly during this segment.
Noted.
Okay.
We'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
All right, 1939, the first televised Major League Baseball game is broadcast on station W2XBS, now known as WNBC.
W2XBS.
Quite an interesting abbreviation, but I guess it worked.
So, do you know what else happened? The second baseball game as well.
Really?
That game you're talking about was a doubleheader at Brooklyn's Ebbets Field between the Cincinnati Reds and, of course, the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Absolutely.
Could not tell you who won, though.
No, me neither. I don't know if they had...
We'll say they split it.
Yeah, we'll call it an even trade. 1964, Lyndon B. Johnson is nominated to run for the presidency at the Democratic National Convention in Atlantic City.
How'd that work out?
Well, he was assumed the reins of government, because, JFK, all that.
Yeah.
Anyways,
moving right along.
A little more in the present day. Quarterback Colin Kaepernick sits during national anthem and gives interview about it for the first time.
Okay, so it was 5 years ago today that the whole Kaepernick thing started.
5 years.
5 years since the Kaepernick thing started.
That's
ridiculous.
Crazy. All right. Well,
the great flood of Baton Rouge happened longer ago than Kaepernick. Think about that. Just a perspective of when on a timeline things happened. What happened more recently? Did you flood or did Kaepernick take a knee? Kaepernick took a knee more recently. That baffles me.
Time's not making sense much anymore.
No. Well, somebody posted the other day that we are just as far now from 1980 as 1980 was from 1939.
That doesn't feel right with me.
It's 100% right. It just doesn't feel that way.
I feel weird about that.
Yep.
Let's get to birthdays. Starting off, we have Mother Teresa was born on this day.
Wow, cool.
Yep. And then we have Geraldine Ferraro. She was the first female vice president nominee. She was born in 1935.
Yeah. She didn't do too well.
In 1960, Branford Marsalis.
Yes, New Orleans' own.
1970, Melissa McCarthy.
Ooh, she's funny. I'm never not going to like her. There's a movie that I still haven't seen, but I keep seeing the clips for it with her and Paul Rudd and Leslie Mann. I don't know. I couldn't tell you the name of the movie.
Me neither, but I've probably seen a trailer for it.
This is 40? This is 40 is the name of it.
I've heard of that.
Anyway, it's a completely improvised scene, and the outtakes are better than the actual movie.
That's most comedies nowadays. But
Yeah.
1980, the Home Alone legend himself, Macaulay Culkin, was born. He's 41 now.
Macaulay Culkin is 41.
Yes.
That's see.
Anyways.
to go from 1939 to 1980 is 41 years.
On this
See?
day.
See? Boom.
All right, and 2 years later, in 1982, we had John Mulaney.
You like John Mulaney?
I like a bit
I'm
of
a
John
big
Mulaney.
John Mulaney guy. Love John Mulaney.
He's definitely at my round table. There's some people ahead of him, but he's got his own style, and he's really good.
Yes.
All right, and then to round out the birthdays, in 1989, we have the flop god himself, James Harden.
Well done.
Yes.
Yeah, not a big fan of James Harden.
Luke
If
is
anybody
better.
should have been left home alone, it should have been James Harden. I got one more for you, though.
Let's hear it.
Got to bring it back home with a local tie. I tried to get as many LSU birthdays as possible in there.
All right.
1999, one Nas Reed.
Ooh.
Nas Reed's birthday.
Currently playing backup center for the Timberwolves.
Not for long. He's going to break through. Well, he's not going to pass Carl Anthony Towns, but you know what I'm saying. He'll get more playing
I
time.
hope he does well.
Every time he's on the floor, his points per minute are fantastic.
He's solid.
I know.
I mean,
Needs more. We need more Nas Reed.
agreed. But we'll see how that goes in the coming few years. Now we have to get to the downer section. We have the deaths.
Mm-hmm.
Charles Lindbergh in 1974. He was the first to fly solo across the Atlantic.
Okay.
1986, Ted Knight. 1993, Rockin' Doopsie Sr.
Oh, man. That's a shame.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you who that is. It was I just wrote
Rocket
it down.
Dupes. So, longtime Louisiana musician.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, I'm not from here.
Yeah.
originally.
Don't admit that yet. Let them love you first, and then you can tell them you're an outsider.
Hey,
Come on.
We'll get around to it.
Come on.
2018.
Tighten
Neil
up, Jake!
Simon. 2018, Neil Simon unfortunately passed away.
Yeah.
And that will round out the deaths. Let's get to the...
Wait, you said Ted Knight in there as well, huh?
Yes, I did.
Judge Smales. How about it?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right, let's get to the national holidays. This one everyone should love. National Dog Day.
Okay, no.
What?
Fine. I mean,
Are you not a dog person?
no, I'm totally a dog person. I'm thinking back to the story from the outside and about the dude from Slidell. I mean, he celebrated National Dog Day a little bit too much.
Ah, yeah, maybe those segments
Yeah.
shouldn't have followed each
Yeah,
other.
yeah, yeah.
Let's get to the next one.
All right.
National Toilet Paper Day.
Okay. Which,
Whatever.
I don't know why. I mean,
Neither.
all right.
Well, this is definitely a good one. It is Women's Equality Day.
Of
which
course.
I assume
Yep.
came with the
Back to
1920. the 19th
1920.
Amendment.
Yeah, yeah.
And that will conclude everything I have for on this day. Thank
Now,
you very
I've
much
got
for
a
having me.
national day that says it's Burger Day today.
Burger Day?
Today. Now, here's the thing, though. There's Burger Day, there's International Burger Day, there's American Burger Day, and then there's National Burger Day, which I don't know why you'd have an American Burger Day and a National Burger Day. But somewhere along the way, the crafty people who promote the hamburger there, they found a way to get on the calendar 4 times throughout the year.
It's
Do what?
pretty impressive.
My email says today.
I could have swore I saw it yesterday.
August 27th.
Well, we might be reporting National Burger Day tomorrow on the 27th. But I
I
could have
guess,
sworn I saw it a day
It's
or two
been a
ago.
while since this email's been wrong, but I'll take your word for it. All right, that is This Day in History. We greatly appreciate it. Quick break. When we come back, let's talk about the tropics a little bit. Ben Schott from NOAA joins us next. The break. Kill the music bed.
Once you're done, when you say that's it for this day in history, you just turn that off.
All good.
Three different spots. Google said, ABC News says it's tomorrow. There's one page that says it was yesterday. There's one saying it is today. I have no clue. According to USA Today, it was National Burger Day on May 28th.
National Burger Day. Today's just Burger Day, not a national involved. Hey, kill my mic for a second. It's just I didn't want to give out his phone number where anyone can hear it.
See an accident? Report it at WBRC Traffic on Twitter. This report is brought to you by Shawbills, where you can get up to $170 with the purchase of 4 Toyo passenger light truck tires. Visit ShawbillsTire.com to learn more.
Eight 18 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Hour 3 of mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. So far this hurricane season in Louisiana, we've been we haven't had a storm bear down on us particularly, but in the wake of last year's season, it's been a due reprieve. That might change, however, over the weekend with what will likely become Ida very soon. Ben Schott with the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration joins us now. Ben, welcome back to Talk 107.3. How are you, sir?
Good morning. Thanks for having me. And I would rather not be here having this talk, but here we are.
Yeah, clearly, it's. I don't know if we've just been lucky so far this year, or what. Has it just been lighter? But as of right now, though, it's looking like this disturbance in the Caribbean is going to become Ida. So, what are y'all seeing right now?
Well, there's still a lot of uncertainty. And I know people in general hate hearing meteorologists use that term because they usually assume it means we don't know what we think will happen. Mm-hmm. But this is a situation where you have a storm that still doesn't have a defined center, still doesn't have any real organization. So the computer models are awful until it gets those two things. And so with that all being said, what is being generated on the computer models would be something that anyone along the northern Gulf Coast right now, if you're not paying attention to this, then that's an issue because, the possible impacts could be significant. And a lot of the modeling right now does have it making landfall somewhere along the Louisiana coast. There is the possibility of it still from Alabama into Texas, and that's just because we're just not organized with the system yet. But if you're in the state of Louisiana right now, you better have your eyes on this.
Absolutely, and yeah, I'm seeing a lot of that. The modeling you're talking about I guess just because it's centralized, basically. If you're looking across the Gulf Coast, we're like a happy medium for all the different models. Let's talk about timeline. Let's talk about what we should be watching for, and then let's talk about intensity. First of all, timeline. How fast is this thing expected to move across or through the Caribbean and then through the Gulf?
Well, that's the first area of uncertainty. Basically right now it could start showing impacts. Let's say it is hitting Louisiana. It could start showing impacts as early as Sunday, mm-hmm. and as late as Monday morning, Monday afternoon time frame. So again, there's still a lot of unknowns. But with that being said, I have to throw this in, now's your time. I'm not trying to get people to run out and clear the shelves at your local grocery store, but if you haven't bought a couple extra cases of water or you haven't got those batteries for your flashlights in case your power goes out, now's your time. You have time to get a couple of these items, but the time frame, again, for the coast, there's still some uncertainty. It could be anywhere from Sunday into Monday at this point. And a lot of it has to do with until the hurricane hunters get out there and pinpoint that thing, hopefully today, and you start to see if a little bit of organization happens, then at that point, then we'll have a lot greater certainty with the timing part.
Now, what about intensity? Again, uncertainty will be there as well, which is why I call on you first, because we're so far out, it's impossible to accurately predict all of it, but we can narrow it down with probabilities based off of the other things that are going on. For example, there are often times where conditions are right for storms to become stronger than otherwise. So What are we looking at as far as intensity is concerned and contributing factors feeding the storm?
Sure. Well, I'm going to go back and make one other quick point. So over the last 5 or 10 years, track has become really strong point for us when it comes to forecasting. So though I tell you it could be anywhere along the Gulf Coast, once we get the center, that track will be pretty darn accurate. So, and that probably may happen as maybe as soon as this afternoon or this evening. So I just want to put that out there, because when you see that track come out, the chances of it flip-flopping a whole bunch, that used to happen a decade ago. That doesn't happen anymore.
Right.
And we've seen that with Laura and with other events recently. When we get a track, it doesn't budge much. You even saw it with a couple of events earlier this season. That's the one thing where the modeling and the Hurricane Center, they do an amazing job compared to what things were a decade ago. Now, I get to the intensity portion.
Yes.
This is where I will say this, and I'm not trying to sound alarmist, but all the ingredients are there for a rapid intensification. Will it do it? That's where the science is still a little weaker.
Okay.
We don't model that as well as anything else, which is why, you know, it's been impressive over the last couple of years to see storms continue to intensify right up to the coast. Laura did it. Sally did it last year. So there's been other events very similar to this. So that could happen here, which is why we're going to keep telling people, though, that you cannot focus on the category, though, because that's not the thing that's going to put you in harm's way. It's probably a lot of the other impacts, the water from the rain, the water from the surge if you're along the coast, you know, flooding in rivers. If you focused on just the category and the wind speed, yeah, that will do a lot of damage probably close to the center, but there'll be major impacts possible well away from the center. So don't focus on just the category. But there is some modeling that show that it could rapidly intensify because the Gulf is extremely warm. The water there is very deep, and it's warm. And there's no shear, looks like, in an environment. There's no dry air to be pulled into the storm. Again, those are when you don't have all those things, and the storm has the moisture, the no shear, and all that, the deep warm water of the Gulf, it can develop pretty quickly, and so that's a concern. And again, that's why everybody needs to watch this very closely through the next 24 to 48 hours and see what it's going to do.
Absolutely, and you're spot on with the category number and whatnot, but the intensity of the storm is always going to garner attention. It's the nature of people, I guess. That being said, speed wise, and you said anywhere from Sunday into Monday, how does speed play a factor in the intensity of the storm?
In this case, it's less time for it to be over that warm, favorable environment for development. Mm-hmm. So the faster the storm, the less time it has to gain strength. So that would be a critical point. And again, we won't really have a good feel for that until they pinpoint the center and get an idea of how it develops.
What about the size of this storm? Because what I'm looking at from y'all's website is large, to say the least. How much of that will stick with it as it forms into its true rotation and whatnot, and how much of that is just showing up? I mean, is this going to be a big storm?
Well, size is, I don't know if I could actually even give you an answer to that right now. I mean, right now it's a disorganized mass of thunderstorms involved with a trough of low pressure, which I know is a lot of meteorological jargon. But, it's possible as it develops, it could spread out depending on if it can create a nice eye wall and really start to spread out like some storms do. But at the same time, some of these storms have amazing eye walls and they're super tight, compact.
Right.
And so, that's the part where I unfortunately I won't be able to really add much context at this time until we start to see it develop. But that's the other part of this, though. Just because it's smaller and compact doesn't mean that you're not going to have significant coastal flooding well away from the storm, or you're not. You could have heavy rainfall well to the east, which happens sometimes, and you can have some life-threatening flooding occur way away from the center. A lot of times people still focus on that center line, and I get that, but you have to start thinking about this a little bit different. The center is obviously a dangerous part for these storms, but there can be life-threatening impacts well away from that center.
No, 100%. And the bigger the storm, the further away from the center, obviously you got to pay attention to. And here in Baton Rouge, it's rare that we are like It's rare that we're the direct hit here, but whether it be a storm that hits like Laura did in Lake Charles last year or anything hitting Grand Isle, I mean, you're either talking slightly east or slightly west, we're still going to feel the effects of it here in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, with a lot of the current modeling, I mean, Baton Rouge is definitely a higher percentage than other places along the coast, or even just inland from the coast. So yeah, which is why I started off with, if you were anywhere in the state of Louisiana right now, you better have your eyes on this, because it's something that we're likely going to be dealing with through the weekend in some form. Hopefully, it's in the lesser form. Not that I want to send it off to one of our neighbors, but it's definitely something to pay attention to, because if this does get a chance to develop rapidly as it moves across the Gulf, then it could be a very dangerous storm.
Got about 1 minute left with meteorologist Ben Schott. Ben, you mentioned hurricane hunters getting up there. You said, is that today that's happening?
Yeah, so there'll be constant reconnaissance flights going in, trying to pinpoint a center, pinpoint a closed low. Once that happens, that helps with the modeling and then everything from that. So they'll be out there all day today.
And y'all are projecting it's a 90% chance this thing becomes a named storm within the next 48 hours. So clearly we will have our eyes on it. Be keeping you close around here, Ben. We'll keep you on speed dial, to say the least.
I'll be here to help whenever I can.
I greatly appreciate it, sir. We always appreciate the information. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. He is Ben Schott from the National Hurricane Center, National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration. And this is likely going to become Ida. I'd be surprised if it didn't happen today. He mentioned all the ingredients that feed into it, and yeah, we are 100% where not a lot of dry air, no shear to speak of. The path that it's going to cross through the Gulf of Mexico is probably looking at the temperature gauges, the warmest it can get. So this has the makings, definitely. Now, as for where it's going to go, that's what remains to be seen, and we will hopefully have a lot more information for you later on in the day. Of course, the Demco Stormwatch page is available at talk1073.com to get all the latest. The Demco Stormwatch page at talk1073.com. We got to take a quick break. When we get back from that break, we're going to talk with Siobhan Fallon, Hogan, an actress who, she's an SNL alum. She's got a new movie coming out tomorrow called Rushed. We'll dive into that in a little bit. Before we hit that break, though, let me tell you about the Louisiana Beef Industry Council. They bring you Foodie Friday every single Friday throughout grilling season. That means Memorial Day to Labor Day. Why? Because it's grilling season. Throwing beef on the grill, there is very little better in life than that. And every single week, we bring you a new restaurant or a different restaurant touting different ways to prepare beef. Look, if you're a foodie, if you love taking on the grill at home, if you love trying new things out in the kitchen at home, this is the perfect segment for you, and the Louisiana Beef Industry Council is here for you with their website, beefitswhatsfordinner.com. Beefitswhatsfordinner.com. Download recipes, trade some tips and hacks, get nutritional information with beefitswhatsfordinner.com. Cool. All right, so they'll call us. You'll hear from the person who books the interview first, and then they'll patch Siobhan in. So I'm just going to kind of vamp for a minute or two because they book them every 10 minutes, so I don't actually have her until 8:40. So do I have another live read on there? I should have one more on there today. Okay. I did not. That's what I thought I still had left. Oh, so we're not going to be able to post anything.
It literally stopped when the show started, and it's on for every station because I checked all of them. So it's all across the board.
after the show, can you go back to the YouTube stream and you have to dub it in real time? I want that Ben Schott interview posted on demand. The rest of it, I'm not. Well, the 7:15 Dr. Louis Minsky and Ben Schott, I definitely want, and then Siobhan, Fallon, I want as well. But you have to do them like in real time. Just pull them up on YouTube. Yeah. I don't care about the full hours today, and Patty G and Don. It's like, but
LSU Athletic Director Scott Woodward says fans will have to show proof of vaccination or negative PCR COVID test
Voice track, Chris
but
Elliott.
the policy does not apply to tailgaters. However, he urges fans to practice mitigation when tailgating, and he's gotten positive feedback. I'm Brooke Thorrington.
Forecasters are watching the Caribbean as there's a tropical disturbance south of Jamaica that has its eyes set on getting into the Gulf of Mexico this weekend. Tropical weather is possible in Louisiana Sunday into Monday. Talk 107.3 Baton Rouge.
Now, your WBRZ traffic update from Ashley Rouge.
A little bit of an unusual slowdown this morning on Airline Highway. The traffic lights are out. This is between Highway 42 and LA 30, so you can expect some additional delays there. Also noticing just those normal inbound delays on I-12 West. So this is all beginning in Denham Springs around Cuban Road, and then things are starting to pick up here at the 10-12 split. So getting through all of that congestion will take you about 24 minutes. That's from Cuban to the split. And then if you're traveling inbound on I-10, seeing a little bit of a slowdown here as well. A 23-minute drive from LA 30 to the split.
See an accident? Report it at WBRZ Traffic on Twitter. This report is brought to you by Shawbills, where you can get up to $170 with the purchase of 4 Toyo passenger or light truck tires. Visit ShawbillsTire.com to learn more.
Don't settle when it comes to your child's education. Meet Enroll VR, the easiest way to apply to schools in Baton Rouge. With Enroll VR, you only have to fill out one online application to get matched with all the schools that
who the hell is Fat Nick?
no more paperwork, no more stress. Just the right school.
Rapper Fat Nick.
Don't wait too long to apply. Claim your seat today. Visit enrollvr.org to get started. That's enrollvr.org.
Get more snacks and less tax during happy hour at Modesto. Join us Tuesday through Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. for $10 20-ounce margaritas and dip trio with $5 drink
Perry Gilpin's in this movie?
cocktails. Eat Modesto, 3930 Burbank Drive.
This is Skip Burton. Been as a coach for over 50 years and the father of 4 daughters. We've had a lot of happiness and accumulated lots of stuff. Dependable Storage wants your stuff. Now open in Baton Rouge. Visit dependablestorage.com.
Did you know that most adults with autism are unemployed, and a major hurdle is the lack of job opportunities? That's why Autism Speaks is teaming up with Lee Container, the J. Donald and
8:38, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Got about 2 minutes before Siobhan, Fallon, Hogan hops on the hotline. I'm looking forward to this conversation from a number of different angles. First of all, she's a fascinating woman. One season on SNL as a featured cast member, but like that season was that crossover in between the Dana Carvey, Phil Hartman, and then bringing in the Chris Farley, Mike Myers, Adam Sandler. Like she worked with a ton of ridiculously talented people, but she left the show due to a number of religious differences. Very, very Irish, very, very Catholic, and her career has taken her through a number of comedy roles throughout the past. But this is different. This is going to hit home as well. So talking to her in just a minute. Hey, before we do, though, got to tell you about Mitch Kimball and his team over at the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet. They want to take care of you and gearing up for the Labor Day sale. Yes, sir. Labor Day coming up, not this weekend, but next. Mitch will have all the deals you could possibly want and all the financing you could possibly want. 12 months interest-free, regardless of what you spend. 24 months interest-free if you're purchasing more than $1,500 worth. A number of different deals. For example, they got the 10-inch hybrid queen mattress with the adjustable base for $699 total. Like between the mattress and the adjustable base, $699. Mitch said they're extending that one. A number of other deals as well. Too many to go through while I tell you about it right here. But I can tell you about where the two locations are. 4065 Florida Boulevard, 4065 Florida Boulevard in Mid-City. Phone number there, 930-5779. 930-5779. Or if you're in the southeastern part of the parish, 18181 Jefferson Highway. That's the corner of Jefferson and Hoosier 2. You can call them at 223-6001, 223-6001. Same great deals, same great service, same great quality products at both locations. And at either location, if you mention you heard about it right here, you'll get free delivery with the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet. So the movie's called Rushed. It stars Siobhan, Fallon, Hogan. It also stars Robert Patrick, who you might remember from Terminator 2, Judgment Day. Or if you're like me and you're always looking for an excuse to get a Sopranos reference in, he was Davey Scatino, the degenerate gambler who lost his sporting goods store to Tony. But Siobhan plays a mom, Barbara O'Brien. Robert Patrick plays the dad. Their son, pledging a fraternity, going through a rush, going through hazing, is essentially, killed at a party, drank to death, among a number of other different ridiculous things. I got the chance to watch the movie. A number of different ridiculous tasks that had to be performed as part of hazing. Well, as this all played out, Siobhan's role as the mom here, and watching the movie, you embrace the sadness right along with her. You embrace the loss. You embrace the complete lack of where does your life go from here. I mean, she did a phenomenal job, but then the story turns. This isn't just about the hazing. This is about the revenge of a mother who has it out for the kids that killed her kid. Building a network among other parents who have been victims of the same thing, and then realizing that path is hopeless as well. It turns from there. Siobhan plays an Irish Catholic mother who prays her rosary daily, but profusely swears as she drives her kids to school. It's quite a ride, hour and 41-minute time here, and I was impressed from start to finish. It is a very, very fantastic movie. So hoping to hook up with her. This looks like they're running a little bit. No, they are running a little bit late. But get hopping on the hotline right now. So we'll be talking with her in just a second. Her resume, though, has been predominantly comedy. This is definitely a new realm, but she takes to it like a duck to water. I mean, her performance is fantastic, as is Robert Patrick's. But I want to talk about not just this particular movie, but the overriding tone that goes along with this movie. We have had an experience here in Baton Rouge. We've had experiences at LSU. It was in September of 2017 that Max Groover was killed pledging a fraternity. 2 years later, Matthew Knockan, one of the people convicted in that killing, So anywhere there's colleges, you're going to find this happening. Joining us now to talk about Rushed is Siobhan, Fallon, Hogan. Siobhan, welcome to Talk 107.3. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me on. I really, really appreciate it. I've actually become friends with Rayanne Gruber, and she's lovely and a class act. And just by chance, my good friend from New Jersey knows her sister's friends with her, so I know all about it. Thanks for having me on.
No, glad to have you on here. Glad to be talking about this because, as I said in the intro, I don't know how much you heard before you were put on hold, but anywhere you've got colleges, this story is going to literally and figuratively hit home. What inspired you to make Rushed?
Well, this is a revenge thriller, and it's about a mom who has 3 kids. She's from upstate New York. She's doing her best to juggle her life. There's a lot of humor in it. Starts off, she's making sandwiches, saying her prayers, and swearing at the same time she's praying and saying, get up, hurry, get up. The kids get in the car. She's like, pull those skirts down. You look like hookers. They're a funny family. They're kind of a normalish family with a lot of humor. And she says the oldest boy's gone off to college, and she says, call your brother. They're like, Mom, leave him alone. He's in college. And, a lot of moms will tell you now, it's a bizarre culture with these cell phones. We have so much contact with our kids. And you're texting them. You text them to the time they go into college. When I was in college, you stood online with a quarter, and if you had a chance to get to the phone before the quarter ran out, your mother got your father. You could talk to your father or your mother. Mm-hmm. Well, now we're texting them in college. Let me know when you're safe. Let me know when you're okay. You're lying in bed. Your husband's telling you stop harassing your child, your daughter, your son. And anyway, when they don't answer, you start to imagine the worst. So it came from that. I'm just lying in bed. I have 2 daughters and a son, thinking, hope my kid's okay. And you start to go there because you've read so many stories, and your mind wanders, and that's where the story came from. And then it's not a documentary. It's a fiction. So there's a revenge element. So it's not like this woman should really, my character, be emulated because she goes toe-to-toe with those frat boys. But, sometimes it's not the most exemplary behavior.
One wouldn't expect exemplary behavior for a mother going through what your character went through in that movie, though. And yes, it is not a documentary, and yes, do not try this at home is the overriding message.
Do not try this at home.
But
yes.
But relatable, to say the least. It's like I don't
Very
endorse
relatable.
it, but I understand.
And when you write, you realize from yourself what you're capable of. And I was like, oh, man, I guess nobody ever crossed my kid in that way, or they will be very sorry.
Siobhan, Fallon, Hogan is our guest. This Rushed is, like you said, a thriller. You have a background in comedy. How was that transition?
It's funny. I was on Saturday Night Live. I did a play in L.A. that I wrote, a one-woman show that Seinfeld came to. Saturday Night Live came, and I was lucky because they both cast me from that. So here I go on a Saturday Night Live, and who becomes one of my best friends, Chris Farley. Mm-hmm. Chris Farley was geniusly funny and real. A lot of actors aren't that funny. You could say, oh, my gosh, that person's so funny. I'd love to meet them, and they're really not that funny.
Right.
Chris Farley at a party would have everybody roaring. He's just a great guy. Morning, noon, and night. We went to the same church together. He was a great person. He visited the homeless. To see someone funny suffer is, to me, one of the saddest things because you expect them to be making everyone laugh. And when they're going through a hard time, it's particularly heartbreaking. So in this movie, Rushed, when you see this family that's so funny with each other and they start to really go through hard times, and you meet other families. I mean, there's other great performances in this movie. Robert Patrick, my husband, from The Terminator, from Walk the Line, he's brilliant. Jake Weary from Animal Kingdom, who plays the president of the fraternity, and the performances of the women, Perry Gilpin from Frasier and Rusty Schwimmer and Andrea Torres-Paz. You see people suffering.
Yes. And
when you see funny people suffer, there's something about it that's particularly heartbreaking.
Absolutely. And your character's transition through this movie of, being the loving mother to being completely lost in grief before transitioning into, the revenge angle of it. The lost in grief part probably hit home the hardest with me.
Yeah. I mean, I lost a nephew, and I saw my sister-in-law really suffer. And, of course, naturally, and like anyone who loses a child. And I said to her on the day of his funeral, how are you doing this? And she said, well, I figured if the Blessed Mother could handle seeing her son on the cross, then I could do this. So in the movie, there's a lot of faith, and there's a lot of humor. But the faith and the humor gets the mother through. And we had to be very careful with that in the film, of not staying too long on that part with the depression. And that's when the father steps in and he says, hey, we have 3 other kids, you know. Yeah. So that's when the mom digs deep down and is like, well, I have a choice here. I can take action, or I can just hide for the rest of my life. And like someone who's a hero like Rayanne Gruber, who has made the best out of a horrific situation, she has taken action to make it better in other people's lives. And this is what this mom tries to do. Now, does it work? Well, I'm not going to give anything away, but this is when it's a thriller and you're on the edge of the seat. And I had this fabulous editor, Sabine Emiliani, French, and she said, Siobhan, every time the audience thinks they know what you're going to do, you must change it. And every time you think they're ahead of you, you get ahead of them. So this is why it's a revenge thriller, and the movie, according to the reviews, keeps you on the edge of your seat.
I got to squeeze one more question in, because the talk of faith is going to lead the way for me. Your faith, your character's faith, and your faith run very similar paths here. How much has that guided your career from start till now?
555%. I credit every single thing that I've been lucky enough in my life to do to God and my parents teaching me the faith. And I know that these are gifts, and I know that I am put here to spread the word through what I do. So this movie hopefully will show people that faith helps you have humor in horrible situations. Faith helps you get through. I wrote another movie that we're starting to film September 27th that Robert Patrick will be in again, and that's about death row. And again, that's a woman who's going to drive the prisoner crazy, talking to him about God, and he finally just like, Uncle, I'm in. Shut up, I believe. But listen, when we're all pushing up the daisies, no one really cares what movie you're in. You know what I'm saying? You got to do the right thing by people. In this movie, like I said, it's a fiction. It's really the message is, whether it's a frat or a sorority or a summer house or an office, when you have someone who's hip and cool and everybody thinks they're great, you don't follow them because they're hip and cool. You dig down and go, wait a minute, whoa, 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 whoa. What am I made of here? Do I follow this jerk, or do I walk away? And if I don't have the guts to walk away, when push really comes to shove and I have a friend that's in trouble, do I choose the friend or the jerk?
She is Siobhan Fallon Hogan. I know you got to get to your next interview. The movie is called Rushed. It releases tomorrow in theaters. I could continue this conversation for hours, Siobhan. Thank you so much for the time this
theaters,
morning.
And they could also, if it's not in your town, pre-order on Apple today, or you can watch it on Amazon or iTunes. Please support our movie Rushed. Really appreciate it, and God bless Baton Rouge.
Thank you so much for the time this morning. Siobhan Fallon Hogan. Absolutely.
Thank you.
We ran super long there, and I don't care, because that was worth every ounce of it. If I could have had 10 more minutes with her, I could have 20 more minutes with her. Her career is fascinating. And, golly, thank you so much for the time. Y'all go see Rushed. If it's, like you said, if it's not here in Baton Rouge, Apple, Amazon, wherever you can get it, find it. It is so worth the time. Oh, man, that was wonderful. All right, we got one more segment to go. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll close things out here on Talk 107.3 FM. Wow! Well, and that's why I ran long, is because the person before me ran long, and they're really good about, hey, you have 9 minutes from start to finish. And it's like, don't punish me because the slap in Spokane, or not Spokane, be too early, but don't punish me because the slap in Omaha ran long. Awesome. All of it Okay. When you show him how to post and tweet and everything. Okay. Siobhan is not on Twitter, but at Rushed Movie is. Tag Rushed, tag me. Because I'm going to blast the hell out of this thing. This is Tweet deck.
It's going to play automatically on here, but so you can do it on here. After you pull the audio and post it on put that specific one on here, tag that movie and tag Brian.
Connects our communities and makes our nation work. These systems are vital to our everyday lives and Louisiana's economy. That's why Senator Bill Cassidy led the way in passing legislation that makes critical investments in Louisiana's roads, bridges, and electricity systems. Critical investments in the infrastructure that makes America and Louisiana great. Here's Senator Cassidy on C-SPAN.
This bill is an example of what Congress should do. It is focused on jobs and safety and a better quality of life.
Repairing our roads and bridges, upgrading electrical systems, and increasing access to information systems is good for our families, good for America, and good for our future. Thank you, Senator Cassidy, for leading the way.
And she knew Max Grover's mom. Holy shit. Yes. Like, okay, so I'm not going to have Matthew McConaughey on the hotline, right? Like, that's not a thing that's going to happen. Matthew McConaughey doesn't have to promote a movie. But what I'm amazed by is when we do have an actor who's promoting a movie, the number of times they have a direct Louisiana connection. It's,
Especially as relatable as that is with that movie. That's
I don't know why it sticks out to me so much. Probably because we've talked on Twitter a lot since then. Eric Roberts talking about Baton Rouge and like hanging out on 3rd. Like, what the shit? About what? Yeah. Yeah, I did it right before that because I knew I was going to have at least a minute. So. Crap. I closed everything out, damn it.
See an accident? Report it at WBRC Traffic on Twitter. This report is brought to you by Shawbills, where you can get up to $170 with the purchase of 4 Toyo passenger light truck tires. Visit ShawbillsTire.com to learn more.
too many nieces.
Yeah. 856 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Shout out to Siobhan, Fallon, Hogan for hopping on board last segment. Go check out Rush, y'all. That was way deeper than I thought it was going to go. Like, that wasn't just plugging a movie. That was wow, she was fantastic. Also, shout out to Ben Schott, meteorologist Ben Schott, getting the latest on Invest 99L, which will likely become Ida later on today. Going to know a lot more after these hurricane hunters start their recons on what this storm is actually got going on inside of it. Very disorganized right now, but Louisiana is certainly a potential landing spot once it crosses the Gulf. And as Ben said, ingredients are there. We got the fixins. We got the makins for this to be a pretty bad storm, which really don't want to break it down from that regard because, Sunday is the anniversary of Katrina? August 29th will be Sunday. Whew. Yeah. Anyway, Ida looks like it could be in the Gulf of Mexico. It's in the Caribbean right now, but could be in the Gulf of Mexico by tomorrow night at the earliest. And, well, honestly, the faster it moves, the better it is for all of us here. Also, thanks to Sergeant Don Capola for stopping in for Crimestoppers and Dr. Louis Minsky, Baton Rouge General's Chief of Staff, talking about monoclonal antibody treatments. That was a fascinating conversation as well. I love the learning we can do throughout COVID-19, especially when it's learning that comes from a doctor. Comes from a doctor who is on the front lines of this from start to finish. And That doesn't come from a press secretary. No offense. I mean, like our elected leaders are doing the level best they can. Think about a novel coronavirus. We haven't been through this before. And don't tell me about the Spanish flu because, you know, how many people attended Saints games or flew out of Armstrong International Airport during the Spanish flu? Right. It wasn't a thing then. We live in a completely different world now. But while everyone's doing their best, I love hearing about innovation. We've heard so much innovation out of LSU Health Science or Health in Shreveport, as well as here in Baton Rouge and down in New Orleans. But the learning doesn't stop, and the learning's been impressive, and that continues with Baton Rouge General's monoclonal antibody infusions. That'll be posted on demand after the show is over with, as will all of the content. And, of course, don't forget Patrick Gremillion hopped on earlier. We were talking about growing the coding culture, if you will. A lot of tech workers are needed. How do we address that? Fox News Rundown's coming up next. I don't have enough time to get back into the pedal pub thing. I wanted to talk more about the pedal pub. We just don't have the time. Fox News Rundown is coming up next. That'll be followed by the Brian Kilmeade Show. Brian's got a full slate of guests today as well. Dave Ramsey from 1 to 4, and then Chuck P. will be broadcasting live from Government Taco this afternoon. Swing on by. It's the opposite end of Government Street from where we're at right now. Swing on by, grab yourself some happy hour specials, grab yourself a couple of tacos, as it were. Chuck P. will be in the seat from 4 to 6 this afternoon. I'll be back at it tomorrow morning. We will, of course, have Haggai Davison for a cup of tech gumbo. Dr. Josh Eachus, WBRZ's chief meteorologist, will have the latest on what will likely be Ida by that time. And we'll have Foodie Friday coming your way tomorrow as well, along with a couple of other surprises that are still in store. In the meanwhile, I got to get out of here. Handing things off to CBS News, then the Fox News Rundown coming your way on Talk 107.3 FM, the new flavor of talk in Baton Rouge.
Protect your retirement. Visit safemoneyplan.net. It's 9 o'clock.
WBRP Baker Baton Rouge 98.1 HD3 Talk 107.3 FM.
Well, no, it takes over anyway, doesn't it? Yeah. Once we're not live, yeah.
Switch it to that.
Yeah, switch the monitor to external, and that'll take care of it. It was on the whole time. CBS was on once the ID played, the command to turn on CBS turned on. We just didn't hear it because we're not listening to the external. We're listening to program one. So we don't have a gap in between. All right, hey, YouTube, we will see y'all tomorrow. I don't want to jinx what we've got in store because a couple of unconfirms, but we'll see y'all tomorrow. Thanks for playing along. Bye.